Hello and welcome to the Bench Bros podcast with your hosts Cheeseby
Yee.
and this is a podcast where we take football seriously and we're going to tell you why your team sucks.
Oh, today's gonna be a great day.
Oh, dude, every single team in the league, to be honest, everything was what, a one-score game, really?
For the most part, unless you're the Cardinals, unless you're the Panthers, I'm sorry, and the Broncos, and unfortunately the Buccaneers
Yeah.
or the
And the
Rams,
command or the
like the
Commanders.
or the Commanders. Yeah. Uh, so what we're gonna be doing here is basically going over the weekly recap of the entire league, and giving our opinions on what we thought happened, and we're probably gonna shit on your favorite team.
Because they suck and here's why. So, I guess we should start off with Thursday night's game.
That was the Dolphins and the Bengals, where the Bengals beat them out 27-15.
Yes.
Starting out with that game, I just want to say up front, what happened to Tua is not okay. Um,
Absolutely not. And you could tell, man, throughout the entire game when he was in there that first and second quarter until he got knocked out. I mean, they say it's a neck injury, but man, he looked like he wasn't there. He looked like it was a lot of miscues. I mean, he's a starting quarterback for a team. How can you have that kind of stuff happen?
yeah, let alone letting this independent doctor in there, and he says your players are clear to play, and obviously isn't.
Well, and he's a Florida doctor. He hasn't seen a patient under what 75 in his last 40 years of medicine.
Not just a Florida doctor, a Miami doctor. Everyone in Miami's out there scheming and scamming everyone. So it doesn't surprise me. It's just unfortunate.
It really is.
Um, I wouldn't be
He
surprised if Tua ended up suing the league or the doctor or somebody out of this, because he could have died.
Oh yeah, CTE is absolutely nothing to fuck with. For those of you who don't know, I'm gonna Google and let you know, but it's something to do with a bunch of concussions.
Yeah.
Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Encephalopathy. Basically, your brain gets all fucky because of a bunch of concussions. That's all you need to know.
But yeah, let's talk about the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the Bengals uniforms made them look like zebras, but they kind of played like zebras the way they were all over the fucking field.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Mixon was galloping. To be honest, I mean, they couldn't stop him the entire game. He was smash mouth, really taking it to the hole, didn't shy away from contact, and had a number of yards after contact, which, to be honest, to me is what truly makes a running back.
What is Smash Mouth? Is that like a Shrek reference? A
Uh,
Smash
yeah,
Mouth reference?
yeah, it's because somebody once told me that the league was a running league. The only time they threw was to give the ball over. But no, Smash Mouth is, he gets in there, he's gonna hit you right in the mouth. He has no problem taking the draw play right up. And he has no issue slamming into the back of his lineman to get that lineman pushing to the second level to that linebacker level, and even farther to go ahead and extend the play as much as he can.
Dolphins weren't doing much of extending plays, especially with them dunking field goals. Uh,
Yeah,
which you shouldn't be doing when your fucking star quarterback is out.
right. I mean, honestly, the second most important position, actually probably third, it's quarterback, Sandra Bullock, and then your kicker.
Sandra Bullock, the center?
Oh, the blind side. Your blind
Oh,
side tackle. Yeah, yeah. Those are the three most important, in my opinion, positions on any football team.
what were your thoughts on Teddy Bridgewater?
To be honest, man, he's been in the league for a long time, and I feel like he still has this kind of young guys mentality. I don't think that he's seeing things the way he should be at this point in his career. He did spend 2 years at New Orleans as a backup, and then when Drew Brees got injured, I mean, he had at least 1,000 yards in I think it was 8 games. So, or something about 8 games when Brees went down. I mean, he can be a quarterback,
Yeah, I think
but
so too.
but for whatever reason, it doesn't look like he remembers how to be a quarterback when he's playing. But he has the potential for sure.
Yeah, I think if a team maybe like redshirted him for a year or something like that, and
Yeah.
got him into the process of the team, you know, what the team's
Yeah.
looking for. I think
Yeah.
he'd be a good fit for somebody. I don't know who at this point though. I mean, especially with his age.
Yeah. And I mean, but that was the whole thing. I feel like he's really trying to force these throws and he thinks he's a superstar and he's just not that accurate. And when he forces these throws, I think he at the very last second he's like, you know what, this isn't a good idea, but he's throwing it anyway. I mean, if you look at most of his stats throughout his career, he almost has double digit interceptions compared to about less than 20, 25 touchdowns on the season whenever he starts.
Teddy threw for 193 yards this game. He made 14 out of his 23 completions. He
Mhm.
got a touchdown, but he did throw one interception, but so did Tua.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know who was in the game for longer. I believe Teddy was in the game longer because Tua went
Yes.
down in the second quarter,
Yeah, about
like
midway through.
towards yeah. Still though, I mean that's not bad. I mean,
No, it's not
comparing
bad at all.
to you know somebody else in the league, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. That's not bad numbers for coming in mid game.
No, it's not bad at all. But I credit it more to Tyreek Hill. That
Yeah,
trade they made to the Chiefs absolutely paid off here.
they stole him from the Chiefs. I don't know what
Yeah.
who sold their soul for that deal.
No,
Tyreek
the
got
Dolphins for sure.
yeah. They traded Tyreek for to his health, I guess, at this point.
Yeah,
Devil
health
came
and about
knocking.
yeah, and the next 5 years of rebuild because it was a number of draft picks as well.
Yeah. See,
And honestly, I think that's really what got him there. I mean, Tyreek Hill, he's excellent in coverage. He makes men miss. If he's one on one, you go to him every time. Now, don't get me wrong, he's no Randy Moss, he's no Megatron Calvin Johnson. If you throw it up there, I mean, I think the guy's he's not the tallest guy in the league. You know, you throw
no,
it up there, he's gonna fight for it, but he's not gonna have that height advantage.
no, but when he does get it, he adds those yards to the play. He can go for like a
Absolutely.
good extra 20, 30, and sometimes even more yards when you give him
Oh
the
yeah.
ball and he's going downfield.
Oh yeah. Like I said, if you put him one on one, he's gonna make that man miss. He's gonna embarrass him. I mean, he's gonna take your lady at the dance.
Like he was averaging 16 yards per uh carry.
Yeah.
Uh
And I
per
mean,
per
yeah.
um per reception. So really
And I
no
mean, if you
complaints
look at
from him.
him, oh, absolutely not. And if you look at him, he has no problem running those short routes, medium. I mean, obviously, every receiver wants to go for the home run ball, but he has no issue working that team player route running.
You want to talk about Joe Burrow?
Oh my God, dude, Burrow. He's coming off a nasty loss to
Yeah.
the Cowboys. Uh, and I mean, he got hit a lot. And don't get me wrong, the Cowboys' defensive line is good. Dan Quinn's doing a lot of good stuff down there, but we'll talk about that later. I believe he's the fifth most hit quarterback in the league right now. And I mean, you can tell his offensive line is I don't they just they're in rush mode and not pass mode. And you can see it. They get beat one on one every time, and you can tell Burrow does not look good in the pocket. He's moving around. It's like he's in a drill. You know that you got to throw it to your third guy. So you're gonna shuffle your feet, hold it, turn, shuffle your feet, hold it, turn, and you're gonna throw it. Within 3-4 seconds. And you can see a couple of times in the game, he actually just does like at least a 90-degree turn, takes one look, and just guns it. I don't think that this is the same offense that they ran last week, and I think it's to try and minimize the amount of punishment that Burrows is taking here. He just doesn't look like he's comfortable whatsoever back there.
Yeah. He has 287 yards on this game, which is not bad. 30 is that 20 out of 31 completions. Uh yeah. I mean, he got damn near equaled out between what two quarterbacks got this game. So he's got to
Yeah,
be a little bit tired towards the end of it. I'm not making excuses for the man, but come
yeah,
on. There's just
yeah.
really not much to talk about with this game, though, other than Tua getting injured. I really wasn't impressed with the Bengals overall. Maybe the Dolphins would have came out if they still had Tua and taking that injury, which I think that would have happened. I think they easily could have put up another 30 points on the board if Tua was still in the game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, with Tyreek Hill, and I mean, really, there wasn't a lot of defense from the Bengals, at least pass wise. Well, or, I'm sorry, rush wise. Pass wise, it felt like they were really worried about it because I mean Burrow is a great quarterback. He didn't look like one when he was there, and I think a lot of it was just the running game was so consistent. But I think it was a lot of those quick routes that really got him all those yards. I mean, but no, I think Tua could have definitely came in here if he would have. I mean, he definitely shouldn't have been playing, but I mean, the pass blocking was great, and the play where Tua got dropped, honestly, it wasn't as much as the D line getting to him as much as the coverage was just enough. And even then, man, Tua just didn't look right.
No, he
Something
didn't.
about it. You know, like I said, there was a bunch of miscues. He was throwing like short. I don't think it was a back injury, and if it was,
Four,
he probably would have been paralyzed.
4 days after you're already sustaining a concussion that that your doctor already tried to cover up, not gonna end well for you when you go back out 4 days later
Yeah,
and get another one.
yeah. Now I will give it to Teddy Bridgewater though. I think miscommunication on the play was what led to that Teddy Bridgewater pick or that interception. But
Yeah,
I mean, really, I mean, like I said, he's a good quarterback. He's just. I feel like he's throwing. He's trying to guess where they're going to be as opposed to really knowing the playbook and feeling out the chemistry with his receivers and throwing where they are going to be. But yeah, but
yeah.
other than that, I mean, they're really, like I said, there wasn't really much to talk about with the game.
Other than the Bengals aren't looking like a Super Bowl team this year,
No,
uh, Miami could have been a Super Bowl team depending on when Tua comes back. If he comes back, uh, their chances of the bowl, let alone playoffs, is up in the air right now.
yeah.
Any final thoughts before we move on to the next game?
I don't think Dolphins are going to make it to the playoffs. I don't think Tua should come back, especially after a hit like and then, like you said it, or I don't know if you said it here or off camera, but I mean the play didn't look. He didn't really get slammed as much as he just got rolled up pretty good.
Yeah, it was more of a
You know?
rolling hit than anything else. I mean, sure,
Yeah.
it probably couldn't have felt good and probably had force behind it, but I don't think it was a as much force as it should have been to, cause a concussion again. But if you have a lasting injury that you still haven't gotten over yet, yeah.
Yeah. All in all, I think the Bengals need to figure out what their offensive scheme is. I think they need to shore up their offensive line. They had a great, they have a great running back going on with Mixon, and I think, no, there wasn't really anything going other than Mixon. But I mean, just leave him back in the pocket and have him chip block if you really need that extra pass protection to take care of Burrows. And they just have to figure it out on the offensive side. And as for the Dolphins, I don't think they're really going to get anywhere. I'm thinking maybe a winning season, but it's going to be a 9-8.
9-8. Okay. All right. So moving on to the Vikings and the Saints.
Also, final score for that game: 15-27. Bengals won.
Oh yeah, I said that at the beginning.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right.
Uh, moving on to the Vikings and the Saints. It was 28-25, going to the Vikings.
Yeah.
Um, my first thought on this is 9 o'clock in the morning is too damn early to be waking up for football.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know what's going on. I mean, I get it. You're trying to expand the NFL, I guess.
Maybe it's just
But
like, please your overseas fans.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
not like Europe's that big.
if you look, I mean, all of Europe is pretty big, but if you looked at the crowd, it was a packed house in that stadium.
It was, and you could see a number of different jerseys too. It wasn't just
Yeah,
Vikings, not just Saints. Like,
they were there to enjoy like a game,
yeah, they were out there for football.
which, it's nice to see.
Yeah, and not the footy, where they just roll around on the floor. No, where they actually get hit, roll around on the floor, and then somebody in a cowboy hat comes out and says, "Oh yeah, that ankle's toast." Now, one thing I want to talk about the uniforms for the Saints.
Uh-huh.
Dude, you couldn't look at them. And I don't know,
You,
it was an open, what was it called? The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I don't know
yeah,
what the fuck that means.
it's a soccer team, or they want it, what they call football over there. It's a football stadium.
sure. But all I know is that it was open. I get what time was it over there?
So it was 9 o'clock here. So I think they're like 8 hours ahead. I want to say over there. I could be wrong. It's like 8 to 6. So it was probably around like 4 in the afternoon when they started.
Yeah. So they're 5 hours for you, 6 hours for me. So yeah, they started, what'd you say, at about 9?
It probably been like 4 o'clock in the afternoon over there.
Okay.
So it was like 9 a.m. here.
Yeah. So I mean the sun was going down and you could not, the Saints with the white and gold, because they were the away team, quote unquote, they looked like biblically accurate angels, man. You couldn't see them. They were just so bright. And if you stared too long, you would just be like, fuck it, just catch the ball. I don't care. There was no way to be able to defend against the ball of light. And
Now,
and to be honest, I wonder if that was a lot of their defensive game plan.
I don't know. I didn't have a problem with watching it. I thought their uniforms were fine.
They were, I don't know, maybe it was just my TV, maybe my exposure's too high, but yeah.
You getting flashbanged on your fucking TV watching football.
Dude, forget Flash. It was 9 bang because the other two guys were just not in the camera. You know what I mean?
I didn't know this until they played with a famous Jameis being out. That Andy Dalton is the backup quarterback for the Saints.
Yeah, I did not know that either until I saw that.
I was like, oh, Andy Dalton's here. I forgot you existed.
Yeah, I think he's going. I mean, he's the new Matt Hasselbeck for the Seattle Seahawks. You know, he does a couple good years with the Seahawks, and then it starts to go down because I mean it's just over, and he's just a journeyman quarterback, just jumping through these different teams. The Red Rifle, they call him.
He's been on 4 different teams. The Bengals from 11 to 19.
Hmm.
The Cowboys in 2020, the Bears in 2021, and now a backup QB for the Saints in 2022. Um, I was You got Joe Burrow on your team. You're not gonna have a good time. You just aren't. It's not gonna end well for you.
Yeah,
I mean, you put
I
up
mean,
236 yards. He completed most of his passes, 20 out of 28. But the Vikings just kind of outplayed him.
oh, absolutely.
And I don't know if it was with the time zones or anything having to do with that. Both teams were like getting there at Thursday morning, and you got to stay awake till Thursday night to sleep Friday and trying to get on that clock. But
Just
I don't
popping
know.
melatonins on the plane over, I guess. I mean,
That's
I think a lot of it really came to defense. I mean, it didn't look like the Saints secondary was pressing whatsoever. They were given a lot of cushion, a lot of space on every single route. And with Kirk Cousins, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, let's see.
What about Kirk Cousins?
I'm trying to see something if I'm right. Yep. So this is why I really know Kirk Cousins. One thing that they really picked apart the Cowboys for, he used to be with Washington, what they were called the Redskins, now the Commanders. He loves those. He is very comfortable in that quick. You give me space, I'll give 5-6 yards here, 5-6 yards there. He has no problem nickel and diming you, and I think that he thrives in it. And I think that led to a lot of issues for the Saints secondary just not coming up for him. To be honest, it looked like a lot of the time the Saints were just not a very physical team. I
No, they're
mean,
not. They're not like they don't have like these big defensive or offensive weapons. I mean, they got some like height on them, but not like you know what I mean. They're not. They don't have like a Nick Chubb that's gonna break through like their running game, and pick
yeah,
up like 20 yards on a run.
yeah, exactly. I mean, Mark Ingram, the running back for the Saints, he would just try and slam into the seam, but there was no seam there. He would just slam it to a wall and be like, well, I tried. Go ahead
He's
and
at
renew my contract.
you know he got 10 carries. He got 30 yards, but he's averaging 3 yards a carry. It's almost not even worth going down.
Yeah, yeah, and to be honest, I don't know how he really got those 3 yards. I think he might have had maybe two or three good breakout runs. Maybe in the third or the fourth when Murray, I guess the backup running back or the secondary, actually showed up,
Yeah.
moved people down, and then really made sure to get that contact on linebackers and take it to the secondary. But I mean, that's really where I see him getting his average of 3.
Let's see. Did you see the? I think we saw the first fake punt we've seen all year so far, uh,
Yes.
coming from the Vikings. Which I'm more surprised that you don't see that kind of stuff. You
Right.
know, for how. I mean, if you do it all the time, teams are going to expect it. But what are we in week 4?
Yes.
Uh, Not only do we get a fake, one fake punt today, we got a second fake punt today. I forget who does it. I have to go back into
Oh,
the notes and look.
yeah.
But there's another team that did it, and they completed it.
Hmm. I'm trying to see. It was the Seahawks and the Lions were the other one.
Um, okay.
Yeah. But this one looked great. This one you could tell. I mean, it was a little bit of a floater. Apparently the punter used to be a quarterback in high school or something.
Yeah.
And it looked decent enough. The receiver actually had some space, so it was a great idea. That was
His name
excellent
was
coaching.
Ryan White. Right.
Dude, the R&R connection. Except he's
It's
connecting
R and
himself.
W.
Oh, right, not white.
Yeah,
Okay,
Ryan
I thought it was in
Wright.
a Uwu dialect, so I just thought it
No,
was
it's a
okay.
silent. It's a silent W. But he
I
threw
don't I
for.
don't even know how to feel about that.
Well, it's WRIGHT.
You don't say we're right, we're right. You know
No,
what? You got me there.
it's a
It is.
silent W.
Dude, it's just Cool Whip all over again with the silent H. W gets its comeuppance.
This was a um towards the end they were tied. I believe I think it was the Saints that kicked a 60-yard field goal, or I was it the Vikings. I didn't write this down, that part down. I just have it as a 60-yard field goal. I can easily double check here. Let's see.
Do. Yeah. The only time that really surprised me with anything of the defense was when the Saints had I think they may have had the lead in the third quarter for a little bit, and that was the only time it really felt as though, oh no, in the fourth. They had it for I think a second or two,
Yeah.
or like a drive or two, and that was the only time that they were actually aggressive on defense. They actually got to Kirk a couple times, a number of knockdowns. But I mean, it was too little, too late at that point. And one thing, man, you have Dalvin, whatever his name is, Cook. The man is a monster when he wants to be. But I know that he's injured. Apparently something with his shoulder. I don't know what happened. And you can tell it's bothering him because he's not hitting as hard as he is. His stiff arms aren't as aggressive as they are. And the only real thing was I think in the fourth quarter, the only rushing touchdown they had was on a jet sweep because God knows they weren't going to get it with Cook. They needed to go with the jet sweep. They needed a receiver because the running back wasn't going to do it. One thing
Let's
that
see.
really, I don't know if you saw the third quarter punt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a very convoluted pass play. It was actually in the playbook. The fumble and 40 yards. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, what is it? The Saints got really lucky towards the end of this game in the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
With a Viking injury, there wasn't much time left on the clock. They're trying to get within field goal range, and they wouldn't have made it
Yeah.
because they burned all their timeout. The Vikings burned all their timeouts out. Um,
Yeah, I think
Saints trying to stop the clock.
safety and the cornerback ran into each other or something.
Yeah, somebody pulled a groin, and they got really lucky with 12 seconds left, but they got super unlucky the very next play when they double doinked it from 61 yards to lose the game.
Oh man, that was heartbreaking. I mean, it was a I mean, I'd say it was a well fought game, but
It
I don't
was.
know, man. Like I feel like they obviously didn't have Saints are with their backup quarterback, which is Andy Dalton, and I mean he did decent enough with the Cowboys as our backup, but I don't know, man. It feels like he's just trying to relive these glory days and really put down where he needs to be. I mean, he did have a good amount of yards. He was what 20 for 30, 66%. And to me, experience and the completion rate kind of go hand in hand. But I mean, he just doesn't.
Was 20 for 28 to clarify.
Oh, 20 for 28, which is what, almost 75%.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's you know, but I think he's, let's see, I have a note here for it. Yeah. The only pass that actually caught my attention, there was two actually, I'm sorry. He had a throw in the third, but it was underthrown really. It was the receiver just having some great awareness. I mean, it was Dalton had enough in him to be like, "Oh, that guy isn't looking at me. I'll at least throw it that way and get the pass interference call." And I guess that's why he underthrew it, because he's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to do this." And then just one where he just kind of rocketed it in between a coverage team, and that was the only thing he did for me to be like, "Okay, you know what? Maybe."
Any final thoughts on this game?
Yes. To be honest, when I looked at the Viking logo, I thought it was a guy with a headband, not a guy with a helmet.
What do you mean? How do you
So
not see the helmet?
I don't know. It's the same color as the hair. It kind of looks like the
That's
what?
true. But you don't
Yeah,
see, there's that purple band and then the horn and then the helmet.
yeah. But you see how you said a band? Yeah, I thought it was just a band, and then he just had horns attached to the band, like some weird, like hipster running in his neighborhood, and wanted a sweatband. Like it just didn't look right. And to be honest, he just looks like a 65-year-old dude who like kind of worked out really hard and kind of got like gross ripped and got super into Viking lore, but didn't really know that it's only the elites that really pillaged for the Vikings. And he's just like a mid-level manager at Arby's. Yeah, those are my final thoughts. Actually, one more. Kirk, I still hate you for everything you did to the Cowboys, but good game. And I think the Saints are gonna have a pretty bad time if they're gonna keep up this defense.
All right. So up next we have the Seahawks and the Lions, which is 48-45. It was a close game, but the Seahawks won it out in the end.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, the Lions have really upped their game this year, even though they've lost a majority of their games. They're still coming in by like a touchdown most of
Yeah.
these games.
They just have this bounce back. It's like they don't even care if they lose. They're just gonna go out and play like it's still 0-0.
Yeah.
And as a Lion, you have to have that mentality. You really do.
Really early on in the game, the Seahawks dropped a punt and the Lions turned it into a touchdown drive. But they missed a field goal. And that whole series was just like a comedy of errors that was kind of sad to watch at one point.
It really was. It's just like these you just picked up 11 guys at a bus stop near a gym and we're like, "Hey, let's go play." It didn't look like they knew what they were doing, but they knew enough because they played in high school.
Yeah. And it looks like that because the Lions love to leave people wide open in the backfield for the Seahawks to
Mm.
throw passes to,
Hmm.
and they have real bad gaps in their run block. I know that
Yes.
they're also working on with like third string, like bringing people up from the practice squad to get on your like defense, but come on. We need to do a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
And I would love to see the Lions succeed just for the meme of it, but it
Oh,
doesn't
absolutely.
it doesn't really happen all that often.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like I said, they just have this mentality, and I don't know if it's a new head coach or if it's just the culture that is the Lions, but they're like a rubber band, and they're Toad in eighth place in Mario Kart, definitely catching up to you because Nintendo just has that kind of programming, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's not bring him up anymore. Um, oh yeah, like we said, there was another fake punt in this game,
Yeah,
which seeing two fake punts in a day, uh, was
wild.
yeah, it was pretty wild.
And he barely had it. The
Yeah,
uh
he it was kind of low from what I remember.
yes, and he was pretty well covered. I mean, I didn't really pay attention to the play, but it kind of looked like there was a push and he came back. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I'm reading your note. your first note for this game. Are you calling Geno Smith the backup quarterback for the Seahawks?
Yes.
He's the starter now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But to be honest, to me, Geno Smith. I mean, he's starting obviously, but like I said, he's kind of got that Dalton in him right now. Except he has filled. The team is so strong, and he is way more experienced.
Mhm.
It seems to me, I don't know, maybe, I mean, I don't know how long he's been with Seattle, but it feels like he really understands the game of football. So him just dropping right into Pete Carroll's starting go through,
I believe he's been there for like 7 years.
yeah, that exactly my point. And the only issue is he doesn't have the superstar move. You know, that one play that makes you go, that is the franchise quarterback.
I don't
And
know.
I
I don't
think
know
that,
how I feel about Geno yet. I haven't seen enough of him play.
yeah,
For him being a backup for 7 years might be a reason for it.
yeah,
Um,
8 out of 10.
the only game I've really watched him play, like really seriously watched him play, is when they were playing the Broncos, like week one,
Mm-hmm.
and he kicked. Well, Russell Wilson. They kicked Russell Wilson's teeth in, but
Yeah.
ever since then, I haven't been super impressed by him.
Oh yeah. Honestly, I hope they stick with Geno the entire year. And I mean, I think they should. You know, I definitely think that they can get a decent season going. I think Pete Carroll's offense is strong. And Geno Smith is something that hasn't really been seen. So I think they're gonna go ahead and do pretty well here in the early season. But about 3 quarters in, I think is where it's all gonna fall apart and it's gonna end pretty bad.
I think the defense is what gave the Seahawks a win here, especially they got a forced fumble in the second
Yep.
quarter. They
Oh yeah.
turned that into an easy touchdown.
The pick six to start the third.
Yeah, the pick six to start the third. Um, they're fucking running the Lions like run defense just get like holes punched in it like Swiss cheese. Yeah, like
Oh, absolutely.
it's ridiculous. The fourth quarter was a wild ride for that game, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. Oh man.
Um,
Knowing the end game or the end scoring, I was in the third quarter like, how the fuck do we get here?
yeah. Um, especially between these two teams. Speaking of Geno Smith, he threw for 320 yards, by the way.
I'm telling you, man, the boy knows that offense. He just knows it. And I think it shows. It really does.
23 out of 30 completions. On the other hand, Jared Goff threw for 378 yards, completed 26 out of 39 with one interception. I mean, still, it's a ridiculous amount of yards that got posted up this game.
Yeah.
Like, for this score to be what it is between these two teams, I was really surprised.
Yeah. But I mean that comes a lot with I think the secondary on both. There was a lot of weird. It just didn't seem like they had too much chemistry between the zones and the man-to-man zones or whatever scheme they were trying to go for. I mean, if you have a decent enough quarterback, which Goff's been in the league for a while, I mean, he's a decent quarterback. I wouldn't necessarily pick him up for my fantasy football team, but
I mean, Goff got the Rams to the Super Bowl.
right. Well, that
I,
was.
be- I believe, didn't they win, or was that the 49ers that year?
Ooh, I believe it was Goff,
Yeah.
and I mean, like I said, he's a great quarterback. He is. Like I said, I'm still not gonna pick him up, but I think it was a lot of just issues with the secondary that really allowed him to go out there and shine. And he was able to pick apart those mistakes. And that's where I saw him really being that superstar quarterback and being that Super Bowl quarterback. He understood coverage.
Yeah. I mean, he's more experienced in the fact of like, playing out the entire game than Geno is,
Oh,
being a
absolutely.
backup for like 7 years.
Yeah. Well, a big
Um,
thing was Jamal Williams, the running back. He was hammering that Seattle line.
he was. I mean, he ran for 108 yards.
Yeah, and I don't think he had one breakout run. It was all like 4 or 5 yards, just cutting and kicking and punching through. And you could tell as soon as he hit it, you could feel the momentum change every time he got the ball. I think he didn't care what was going on. He was gonna make a play, and he was gonna try and take a linebacker out with him when he did it.
Yeah, it was around that time, like in the last 2 minutes of the second quarter, I believe it was, where the Lions really got in that groove of
Hmm.
like, short pass, run, run, pass, that sort of thing. But then it just kind of died again, like at the beginning of the third quarter with that pick six.
Oh yeah. To be honest, I thought if I didn't know the score, because that was really when the Lions and Seattle were starting to go back and forth. And
Um,
I honestly thought that might have been like a nail in the coffin, maybe not the finishing one, but I thought it was over there.
I thought it was gonna be over too. Um, but yeah, it's that run defense that they need to work on. Um,
Hmm.
I mean, they have like the Lions have these like little like great plays here and there. Like they picked up like that really big. I think it was like a 46-yard. Turns into like 46 yards, but it was like a 10-yard pass.
Oh yes, the Surfer Bro Hendershot or Hawkinson, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
and he like takes it all the way down to like the 3 yard line.
And they have like these little glimpses. These Lions have these glimpses of like giving these poor Detroit fans hope.
Yeah,
And then, with that fourth quarter, the fourth quarter there was 32 combined points in that third quarter.
yeah,
Um and like the Lions had a chance to like come back and really win it with that onside kick. They almost had it. Like there's been a couple onside kicks here this year that have been really close to getting the team back the ball.
yes.
And onside kicks are brutal because you get this huge like 11-man pile up right at the ball as soon as it's
Oh yeah,
kicked. But it's quite unfortunate. And like two
yeah.
like two missed extra points, like
Oh man. Well, they
that's
tried to
gonna
get it
hurt.
back with the they just
Did you?
said Lions say Mister can't kick a extra point, and they go for the two. I think late or mid to late fourth quarter, and I don't blame them. I mean, I don't
You
trust this guy either.
you really can't. Let's see. Anything else you want to talk about in this game? Because I'm pretty much done about the Lions and them fucking losing every other game.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Detroit, they kept coming back. I'll give it to them, man. As soon as you would figure it out, like Typhoid Mary, they are right back in there, giving it back. And I mean, I think they really could have made something happen here, but they just could not stop Rashad Penny for the Seattle Seahawks. He had every time he touched the ball, it was massive. He was going and going. They couldn't get anything going until Jamal Williams started running those inside routes. And I don't know, man. I think the Lions like it's like going through a child's shit because he swallowed the wedding ring. You know, you think you see it sometimes, but it's only something else shiny that the kid ate. And you're just hoping that one day you can figure out how to get that ring back.
Interesting set of words.
What about you? Any final thoughts for this game?
Um, get good, Lions.
Fair. Very fair.
Let's talk about the upset that I didn't see coming.
Oh my god, dude. No, I not in a million years. No,
Uh, Jets
a
versus
thousand.
Steelers, 24-20.
Yeah.
Initial thoughts on it. What do you think?
To me, going in, I mean, I didn't even. I was thinking to myself, what's the point of even watching this game? No, don't get me wrong. The Steelers lost Roethlisberger, but they have. Well, that's the issue. They have was it Trubisky, and I mean, he's like he is the journeyman quarterback that should have been gone 3 years ago. Yeah, he's got some decent stats he puts up, but I don't think he's been around too much that I wonder if he's just getting lost in what he thinks a play should be, and I wonder if that really hurt them. I think it wasn't until like the third or fourth quarter where they sat Trubisky and actually pulled up what is his name? Kenny Prickett?
Pickett.
Is that right? Yeah,
Kenny Pickett.
Pickett. There you go. And well, sure enough, lives up to his name. I think he throws two interceptions in the late fourth quarter.
Three. There's three interceptions on for Kenny Pickett.
Three. And that's what allowed the Jets to come back.
Um, Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett both threw 13 passes. Kenny Pickett got 10 completed. Mitch Trubisky got 7 in total. Kenny got 120 yards and Mitch got 84. So I don't know why they have Mitch Trubisky. Honestly, he's aging out. There's a reason that the Bears cut him.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, he was supposed to be like the star for the Bears, and he never paid off. It's like he peaked in college.
Yeah. I mean, he was just another, and he should have been gone within 3 4 years, but
Yeah,
Bears needed a quarterback and really felt. I think who was right before him, Rex Grossman. I think Rex Grossman started to move out, then Trubisky came in, and they thought maybe he was a better Grossman, and it just didn't work out whatsoever. I mean, I guess he kind of fit into that play, but you don't want the Rex Grossman play. You want good play.
yeah. Nothing really big happened until the Jets like picked off the Steelers. And they
Mhm.
turned it into field goal, which that was Mitch Trubisky's interception. 4 interceptions on the day.
Yeah,
The Steelers. And like I don't know if the Steelers are in like this rebuild. They just fucking blew smoke out of their ass. I mean, the Steelers were where do they were 1-2 going into this game.
yeah,
Uh I just not impressed by these Steelers.
no,
Going from aging Ben Roethlisberger to this. I mean, fuck, I might even take Big Ben back at this point for them to have at least a fighting chance.
yeah.
They're
I mean,
leaving
yeah.
they're leaving big holes in their pass defense, and yeah, it's just ridiculous on what they're doing.
It
The
feels like they're trying to go to more of like a speedier defense, maybe, and they feel as though they're really comfortable with these cornerbacks and safeties really playing off, as opposed to and being up and physical and making the big hits.
I mean, they're missing T.J. Watt. I
Yeah,
believe, yeah, T.J. Watt's for this. Yeah, and their defense is nothing without him.
yeah,
The Jets are no better, but they're also operating on like fifth and sixth string like defensive linemen.
yeah,
So there's like really no excuse for these Steelers to be playing the way they are.
yeah.
Um,
And I'm not too sure, but I don't think they really got to Trubisky
um,
in this.
let's see, how many sacks do we have for today with the Jets? One, two, three sacks in total.
Okay, well, never mind. I guess they were really putting it on. And oh, maybe that was why. I mean, Pickett, right? Pickett. Maybe that's why. I mean, he. I don't think he played at all in the preseason, and even if he did, it was a lot of backups. I mean,
No,
he's a rookie, isn't he?
yeah, and he's a rookie, so he
Yeah,
probably did play in preseason.
yeah. But I don't. I mean, that's all backups. I mean, it's still basically it's still college ball in preseason. Really, that's all you're playing still. And there is so much of a speed difference going from college to the NFL, and him with that speed coming at him, and I think with the defensive line, even with the fifth and sixth, he might have been feeling that pressure, I guess, some kind of way. But and I wonder if he just didn't really understand what was going on and why he threw the 3 picks.
Yeah, and
I,
their pass defense is no better. The Jets pulled off a Philly special to take a lead in the second quarter.
yeah,
So
I saw a lot of trick plays in the league this Sunday.
yeah. Um. Also, I want to point out there, all the Steelers fans saying the bomb pass to Deontay Johnson was in bounds. You're huffing some major fucking copium. That man's toes were out of the line. So, that's why they have a video camera for to look at those things.
Like you can't talk to Steeler fans. You really can't. As soon as you
You can't.
start, they start going back to the Iron Curtain,
Yeah.
and you know,
All I hear is
the
Steelers. That's
yes,
all you hear out of them.
Oh, absolutely. Be like, well, we would have been great, with Le'Veon Bell and Big Ben. We would have made it. We would have had another two Super Bowls in that time. And it's like, no, no, you wouldn't have.
Half of those people weren't there when you got the Super Bowl in what was it, 2000 and like 10,
Yeah,
11? I can't remember the last time the Steelers in the bowl. Around that time.
yeah. I mean, I don't see the Steelers really going anywhere. The Jets, per the usual,
Yeah,
are
like
gonna be
Jets are
around.
gonna Jets are just gonna flounder off the rest of the year. They'll pick up some more wins. But what the fuck was that play towards the end of the second quarter where the Jets did like a backward pass, then they dropped the ball, and then that man did like a diving shovel pass? Oh man, leave it to the Jets. They're gonna give it's like it was like watching like the Harlem Globetrotters, but it was on the football field.
I I don't know. I think it was probably something. It was supposed to maybe be like a toss out and then maybe like a throw over the top. Maybe the offensive coordinator saw something. Maybe they were too aggressive, ears pinned back, trying to get to the run. But I don't know. I think this man was just. It was a broken play. It doesn't seem like it really went anywhere. I think maybe he was trying to make a play out of nothing, or because sometimes the receivers will still run routes just to get defensive or defensive backs out, and maybe that was the play. Try and get the defensive backs so that way you don't have to seal the edge, and maybe he can get through. But I don't know. There was so many things that maybe happened, or could have happened, or maybe was planned that didn't work out.
Yeah, I have no idea just what they were thinking. There was a Hail Mary that the Steelers did in like the final play of the second quarter that turned into like an impressive Jets lateral play. Uh,
Mm.
but it was like overshadowed by the roughing the passer penalty, and the Steelers got the ball back to, I believe, kick a stadium record for them, which was 59 yards.
Even with the rough in the passer, they couldn't get anything going.
No. Well, they were at 0-0 on the clock in the second quarter, so I think it was gonna ball was gonna change hands regardless. I mean, it was gonna get
Ah.
reset.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, yep, yep.
It was kind of impressive for 59 yards, and there was some wind ripping through there.
Yeah, were
You
they
know,
playing in
they're playing in Hines.
Heinz? Yeah. And it's cold right now, man. Even at noon. I don't know how cold it was that day, but it's been feeling it. Let's see.
I'll put it in like the 60s up there. 60, yeah, probably around the 60s, 50s. That'd be my
Oh
guess.
shit. Oh, just a windy day then.
Yeah, it was a cold, windy, wet day for mostly everywhere.
Yeah. One that really was wet and windy was mainly the Bills and the Ravens.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that one.
Then there was that interceptions the Jets got in the third quarter. It was really
Mhm.
impressive. It was great ball awareness by the Steelers. I'm sorry, great ball awareness by Jordan Whitehead. And it's a shame that the Jets weren't able to capitalize on it. And they threw
Mhm.
an interception that, on that same drive that the Steelers turned into a touchdown. But hey, it was good ball awareness, and I'll
Yeah.
mention it here. Um, and yeah, in the third quarter, the Steelers were the only ones to score, and into the fourth quarter, they kept that momentum until the Jets made like this really impressive drive in like the first half of the fourth, and they were
Mhm.
able to like hold off the Steelers offense. And then, that interception at the end, towards the end, like in middle of the fourth quarter, they wasted I think a good like 6, 7 minutes off the clock, and they scored a touchdown, and they just left the Steelers with no time, and
Yeah. And I
that's
think that's a lot with Joe Flacco. I mean, he used to be. I don't know if he ever made the. I think he made the Super Bowl once, I believe. But he was a great quarterback, a great pocket passer. He understood offense. I mean, they when the Ravens kicked him for a favorable Lamar Jackson. I
Joe
mean,
Flacco doesn't play for the Jets.
what are you talking about?
He didn't play today
Did
or
he
that
not?
Sunday. No, it was Zach Wilson and yeah.
Zach Wilson. Oh, yep, you're right. Okay, my bad. Yeah, never mind. I have no idea how they did it. He did have two interceptions. That makes a lot less sense now. maybe there's something to this kid. I mean, he's 23, what, second year in the league, both with the Jets. Last year had no real going. Wow, I'm surprised that he was actually able to get down there and make a decent enough drive to waste enough of that clock.
Yeah, I mean, all I gotta say is, how does it feel, Steelers fans, to have a losing record and you lost to the fucking Jets? Congratulations, everybody.
Well, you see, in 1980 with Jerome Bettis, it would have been a different. We're a smash mouth team. I don't know what we're doing with getting with the times and trying to get faster. That's ridiculous.
Um,
Those are my
yeah.
final thoughts on that.
Moving on. Bears and the Giants. 12-20. Giants taking it.
Yeah, crazy to me.
Uh,
I I
Not
mean,
so
it's the
crazy to me.
Bears. Well, I mean, it's the Bears, right? You're gonna
Yeah.
kick the shit out of them. But it was just crazy to see that Daniel Jones, 2 rushing touchdowns, walk-ins, by the way.
Yeah. Daniel Jones has 68 yards total running for this game.
Yeah.
Rushing, I should say. Yeah, in the first quarter, the Bears have absolutely no run block, and allow Daniel Jones of all people just to get walk-in touchdowns.
Yeah, and with
I mean,
Daniel Jones, you gotta keep a spy on him, if nothing else.
but yeah, nothing. I mean, Daniel Jones, the Bears made him look like fucking Lamar Jackson out there today. They really did, with how poorly they were fucking playing.
Yeah.
The Giants are allowing like these deep passes to go through.
Hmm.
Um, Another person, Saquon Barkley, fucking ran over the Bears, and he went back, and then he did it again with
Yeah.
a
No,
hundred.
he. Yeah.
They fed that man the ball 31 times.
Yeah. And Saquon Barkley is that running back, man. Honestly, when the Cowboys beat the Giants, Saquon Barkley, the only reason why the Cowboys won it, Saquon Barkley just got stopped somehow. We just managed to be in his way enough. That was really it. We fed bodies to stop him. And I don't think that the Bears did that. They just, even if they did, Saquon Barkley just ran right through. Who do the Bears have on defense to make any real impact?
Nobody I know.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody worth mentioning. Yeah,
Yeah,
146 yards. Yeah, the man didn't even put it in reverse to run him back over, as you were saying. He just popped a UE on the interstate. Couldn't give less of a
yeah.
fuck.
The Giants really ran over the Bears. The Giants only threw for 71 passing yards, but 262 rushing yards. They played like good old fashioned like football, gridiron football.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they just have no faith in Justin Fields.
I don't know what the deal is. I mean, the
I
man
mean,
threw for 174 yards. He got no interceptions, but he
right.
only completed 11 out of 22, so 50% of the passes he threw.
Yeah, and I don't know what happened there. There was really nothing. I don't know. The Giants don't have the greatest secondary. I mean, it's not
No,
like they were knocking balls down and really playing physical defense. That's not who they are.
I don't know how the Bears didn't pick up when Daniel Jones is gonna run. He always does this like big roll out to the sideline, like he's Aaron Rodgers, and then he bolts. He just
Yeah,
goes for it. That's
yeah,
all. Like almost 90% of the time when he was running, that's what he was doing. He would do this big wide run, and then he'd take off.
yeah. And he's done it constantly. And I don't even think there was play action on that, was there?
I don't remember. There probably was on like a couple
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah, but I mean, you can tell, he sells it every time.
And Daniel Jones got an ankle injury on the game, which I'm not surprised with the amount of running he did. And they put in
Yeah.
the backup, Tyrod. But Tyrod had to come out because I think they had the concussion protocol him.
Mhm.
And I guess the NFL's taking that seriously now. Um, but yeah, like I said, the Giants just played like this kind of old school run game where they just demolished the Bears on the ground.
Yeah.
And the Bears dropped a punt at the last 2 minutes of the game, kind of just sealing their fate in this thing. They didn't
Yeah.
score a single fucking touchdown that
No.
entire game. The Bears did not score a single touchdown, which leads me to ask why they were 2-1 in the first place. I don't know who they were playing. I think I remember the week 1 they played the 49ers and beat them, but I think that was due to the weather. The 49ers just weren't ready to play in that kind of weather.
Yeah. I mean, then the Bears are. I mean, it's always horrible in Chicago.
Other than that, I don't have much to say about this game. A game was played here,
Yeah.
and the Giants came out on top. Anything else to add?
No, I mean, I think Daniel Jones needs to be careful. He runs with absolutely no self-preservation. I don't know if it's this Tim Tebow mentality where he thinks that he's big enough to just go through these mountains of men. I mean, here it didn't really come up too much, but he did get hurt, and I don't even think that was off of a run, really. But I mean, he's runs a lot, and when he runs up the middle, he's gonna get hit, and he needs to protect himself because if he plays his cards right, I definitely think that he could be a franchise quarterback for the Giants. I mean, I think they're already kind of putting that tag on him,
God,
but
I
I
hope
think that
not.
he can, I think he can be a force to be reckoned with in about 3-ish years if the Giants can stay healthy and keep players on the team and just build them up. I think that this is a not a Super Bowl team, but a constant playoff team in the next 3 years. As for the Bears, sorry, that's it.
Oh, I'm not sorry. Fuck the Bears. You guys suck.
Oh my god. But no, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Just yeah. Thanks for showing up, I guess.
Yeah. Um. All right. Let's talk Titans and Colts. 24-17. Titans taking it.
Yeah,
This is another game that just kind of happened, and I didn't really care that it did while watching it. Like, I did not feel like this is the game that had to be played because it was on the schedule.
yeah.
Both of these teams are very unimpressive, I would
Mhm.
say. Minus Derrick Henry. He's always a blast to watch. Him
Oh, absolutely.
bowling down people. I figured the Titans were going to take away this game. Colts not doing too well. They're 1-2-1.
Yeah, who did they tie with? I think it was the
Texans.
yeah. At that point, you knew that the game, it was gonna be over. The season was over by then. Yeah, and I mean the Colts didn't impress me. The defense had 3 sacks, which I think is probably the best they've done, and 1 interception. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a game.
Yeah, this is a game. The Titans picked up a touchdown from a forced fumble. I mean, what to be expected from Matt Ryan here?
Yeah.
Mr. 28-3.
Yeah, and I
Uh,
mean, I think that they're trying to put it the Colts are trying to put it all on Matt Ryan. And I don't know if they think. I mean, Andrew Luck was decent enough. He won. It was winning seasons. But they have no run game, man. So Matt Ryan, I mean, just like when he was in Atlanta, he was just give it to Matt Ryan. He's gonna throw the ball and he's gonna make the play. Well, not make the play, but he is gonna make the yards. He's gonna put it in the right spot.
Matt Ryan threw for 356 yards. The man's got an arm.
Absolutely. He's what, 47 roughly?
Oh, I don't know how old he is. I
He is 37
do a quick look here. Yeah.
and he is forcing a smile in his Indianapolis Colts mugshot.
You just saw that too. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Uh,
And he had 1 interception, which is if you're throwing 37 times and 1 interception, yeah, that's amazing.
he rushed for -4 yards twice, or he rushed for -2 yards twice. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But I mean, he had to do something. He's like, you know what? I'll be the running back also. And then he realized, oh wait, there is absolutely no running block. There's no run block. We're just they paid for me and they paid for me to be in the backfield.
Yeah, I mean the Titans do have they do have big holes in their passing defense, and that's how the Colts are getting down the field.
Mhm.
But apart from that, they're using that to kick field goals. Like
Yep.
they're not doing much with like these big pass plays. And then you get like Derrick Henry on the Titans, who's just fucking bowling them over
Hmm.
because the Colts don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
And
Derrick Henry, monster game, 150 yards.
yeah, he also got 33 receiving yards.
Yeah, yeah, I was talking about all together. Yeah,
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
yeah, and I think that really opened it up for Ryan Tannehill because I mean, he used to be with the Dolphins, just okay
Mm,
quarterback, middle of the road, but
yeah,
you 100. I mean, you can see it here, 137 yards. Here's the most interesting thing about this game: the Colts should have won. They
yeah.
had
Like
everything but the run.
on paper, yeah, they should have won. They beat him out in total yards. They beat him out in passing yards. The only thing they didn't beat him out is in basically rushing yards.
Yeah, and those three turnovers, those two fumbles and that interception, man, that's what did it. And was it the strip? Was it a strip sack? Is that correct?
Do, 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 do,
Or is
do.
it? Okay.
It was in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
The Colts fumbled it, and the Titans picked it up. They capitalized on it.
Yeah.
They didn't capitalize on it like scoring, but they just took time off the clock that the Titans needed, or the Colts needed. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, the
And
Titans, I don't think they're a good team. The Colts gave it to them. And with that being said, the Colts have nothing but Matt Ryan to
yeah,
make them points.
the Colts scored what, one touchdown in the second half. Yeah,
Yes, if I'm not, yeah, one. I mean, that was the only score in the second half.
yeah,
And the Titans came out. I mean, it wasn't even, wouldn't even say strong. The Colts just kind of gave it to them.
yeah.
They were able to march downfield, and I think that's where the majority of Tannehill's yards really came from. That first and second quarter.
Yeah, I think this is going to be Matt Ryan's last year in the league.
Yeah,
Um, because he's not getting anything anywhere
yeah,
after this.
yeah. No, I think he should have. I mean, I'm not saying that he should have retired after the blown 35-point lead, or was it 20 something point lead in the Super Bowl?
23.
There you go, 25 point. I don't think I don't think he should have retired after that, but I think he should have retired before he joined the Colts. But I think the Colts were just looking for somebody to come through, and I wonder if they were trying to find like the last 2 years of another Peyton Manning.
Yeah, well, that ain't it, Chief.
Oh, what are you talking? These are the Colts, you silly Billy, not the Chiefs.
I don't want to talk about the Chiefs.
Yeah. You have any
Oh.
final thoughts for this game?
Uh, not really. This is just again another like. There's so many games this week that really just did not like. It felt like more of a chore to watch them than it was to like sit down and enjoy them. And I feel bad for those fan bases of, especially the Colts. The Colts got kind of fucked over in the past couple of years with their team structure.
Yeah. What was it? I think Andrew Luck leaving like 2 years ago, just kind of out of nowhere. He played a couple games, and then like 3 or 4 games in, then he's like, yeah, you know what? I think I'm done here. Is he at 2018? So I mean, 4 years ago. Well, three. And then I think 2019 he retires a couple weeks right before preseason begins.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're scrambling 2019. I don't know who they picked up. God knows who. Nobody important. And then they pick up Matt Ryan, just trying to salvage something at the end.
All right. On to the Chargers and Texans. A
Yeah.
little bit better of a game.
Which is surprising to say when anytime the Texans are brought up.
Yeah. Texas still 0-3, by the way.
Yep. Don't forget their tie. Okay. It's like kissing your sister, but in their case,
Yeah, where you
no, it
going? Where you
just,
going with that one, buddy?
yeah, it's in their case, it's like kissing their hot stepsister. Because I mean, I didn't think they'd win. So they like it's a win to them. Also, I'm gonna put this out there. Fuck Houston, garbage city. I will not be taking questions on this matter.
34-24, Chargers taking it.
Yeah.
Uh, Very opening drive to set the tone of this game. The Texans throw a interception, and the Chargers pick it up, and they turn it into a touchdown.
Yeah. Only score of the first quarter.
Yeah, only score the fourth quarter, by the way. And then,
You mean the Chargers got the interception?
yeah,
Yeah.
the Texans
Yeah.
they picked up an interception. They turned it into a touchdown. They caught a break when they got a face mask call, but again, they got scared of the red zone in the second quarter, and they settled for like I think a field goal.
Yeah.
But they shanked it hard left, and this fan caught the ball, so that was great for him. I hope that man had a
Ooh.
good day.
Yeah. Here's the worst part. He can't even sell it. Nobody will buy that.
Nobody wants a Texans shanked football.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean,
So
I
he
don't
didn't
I
even
don't
get his money
see
back on the game day ticket.
no, not even close. And I mean, it's not like Texans tickets are expensive, at least they shouldn't be.
Oh God, if you're going to a Texans game, what are you doing?
Uh you just live in Houston because your job took you there and you're going to see the team they're playing against. That's why you go to a Texans game.
Um, go to a restaurant. Go to a downtown. Go find like a nice steak restaurant. Spend $40 on like a nice steak dinner for you. Maybe, bump it up to like 60, 70 for your insignificant other.
Yeah,
Still
yeah.
cheaper than probably going to a Texans game, and you'll have a way better time. And you could probably
Absolutely.
watch a different football game if you go on Sunday.
Ooh, that is true. I mean, the Texans, even with Deshaun Watson, who did they have? DeAndre Hopkins. They seemed like a good team back then. And
They have this guy named Davis Mills. I've never heard of him
yeah,
until the when they started playing. Uh,
yeah.
Apparently,
He's 2 years in. This is his second year, I believe.
okay, yeah, he was with the Houston Texans. I think he was their backup.
Yeah, and I mean, what are they trying to get with this guy? I mean, I know that they I don't know if they lost Deshaun Watson as much as they were like, hey, we need to get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
But and I think what Deshaun Watson goes to the Browns,
yeah, and
and
he hasn't even played yet, by the way.
no, he's not coming back
Not till week
to
11, till the Texans play the Browns.
yeah, what's that week 13, 14?
11,
Yeah,
week
and by
11.
then, I mean, it doesn't matter. The Texans won't be anywhere. The Browns, we'll talk more about that game.
Yeah,
But I mean, yeah, this is Davis Mills. I don't know if they expect him to come up and make something. I mean, he didn't do too bad, other than the two interceptions.
first quarter they got no points. They
Yeah,
didn't have much of a running game.
no,
Um, though they were able to poke some holes in the Chargers' running defense, but they
yeah.
didn't do anything with it. Chargers did get their first rush touchdown of the season though in the early second quarter.
Well, why would they? I mean, you have Justin Herbert. The guy's fucking. He's great. He really is good. And you know what? It's the hair.
But he's also probably coming off still has cracked ribs from what game was that? Like 2 weeks ago.
Jaguars or Chiefs.
I think it was the Chiefs that they were playing.
That makes sense. I don't think the Jaguars can hit anything in the backfield.
I know Herbert went down and he was struggling. And
Yeah,
he's probably dealing with some cracked ribs.
yeah.
Uh,
But I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell. I mean, 340 yards, 27 for 39.
yeah, the man
I
had a monster of a
mean,
day too.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to be honest, the only reason why I don't think that he had three, maybe even four touchdowns is because they are confident in their rushing game. And they have a lot of people that they bring in different offensive or running backs to keep things fresh and keep things going and throw the defense off. And I think that's really helping Justin Herbert out here for the Chargers.
Yeah, they just can't stop him. They
No.
really couldn't. Texas running game finally does pay off in like the third quarter. When they decided to show up to the game,
Yeah.
and they got a rushing touchdown down to the field. And the only other thing to note that the Texans did is they got a 50-yard pass late in the fourth quarter, which they did get a touchdown to a wide receiver, their first of the year.
Yeah.
and their last touchdown of the game.
Yeah. Uh,
And then, they the Chargers dropped the field goal and the Texans turned it into a field goal, but by then the game was already over. I mean,
yeah.
it didn't matter what they did at that point.
No, the Texans had really felt like almost no business on defense being out there. They could have just put up cardboard cutouts from the way that Justin was just playing 7-on-7. I don't know if you're familiar with that term.
No, not really.
Okay, so 7-on-7 is it's not really a drill, but essentially it's just the quarterback and six receivers
Oh,
against seven defensive players. So it's a 7-on-7, and it's just a passing, no run, just a passing kind of game. And I
okay.
mean that's all he did, and honestly, just it felt like he just had a
Yeah,
great time. He was out there
you know,
just
I think the cardboard cutouts would have put up more of a defense. As they got caught in the wind or something.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, and then the Chargers just sealed away the Texans' fate even more with the touchdown in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
The Texans threw an interception on.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're still winless this season. They're probably going to remain winless. They're probably tanking right now.
Oh yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we're going to go into week 5, and if they don't pick up a win here, they're going to have to start. They are tanking. I mean, that's the only thing that they could be doing because there's really no excuse for the way they're playing.
well, they might get a break next week. It is the Jaguars. No, yeah, we'll see how that goes. That's gonna be one of those games that's gonna be a chore to watch. It's gonna be another Titans and Colts. I can already see it. Nothing's gonna happen. It's gonna be a football game.
All right, on to the next one. Browns and Falcons, 20-23, with the Falcons taking it,
Yeah.
and the Falcons not choking, which that's a good day.
Yeah, very surprising. And really, it was the Browns that choked.
Yeah, really was.
Yeah.
Um,
You want to start off?
no, you can go for it. I started on most of them. You
Okay.
take the lead on this one.
Nick Chubb. That man can run. He doesn't mind hitting you, but he knows he doesn't have to. His vision is excellent. I mean, I don't know what the Falcons were just getting Swiss cheese, like you said. I mean, just absolutely sliced, diced, cross sectioned. He was just going through. Now, the only thing I can say really, he's not really a come out of the backfield type of running back. He's a running back. He's not gonna go out try and make a catch here or there. I mean, he did, but that's not his mindset. And I mean, you could see it, especially with I believe it's the first drive where they go for it on fourth down. Prickett, I had no idea who this guy was, to be honest. Was And it makes a lot of sense because he's not their quarterback. Or not Prickett. Yeah, no, Bursitis.
That
What's his name? Bursett. Yeah, Bursett. I don't know. Like, he's a backup quarterback, and you can tell he knows the playbook. He sat down. He memorized a few of them, but he's a backup quarterback. And I think Nick Chubb could have really helped him out on that fourth down conversion, just coming out with him, even just helping kind of lead the block or just being up there with him. I think that could have been an easy touchdown. And I think that play to set the tone, especially after Nick Chubb slicing and dicing, is why they lost this game.
Yeah, Browns really just didn't fucking pick up steam till the second quarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it was tied by then, and they took the lead in the third. But the Falcons just came back at the end.
Yeah.
Uh, it was mostly um the Browns are killing it with the Falcons on the on the ground game, but the Falcons are getting down the field with like these short passes and ground gains, and the Browns just really couldn't deal with it at the end.
Yeah.
Uh,
And it was those little mistakes here and there.
the Falcons did get like a running game going in the fourth quarter to get like momentum and a touchdown. Also, I need to bring up something. I fucking hate the gritty. It is the
Yeah, what
dumbest
is
fucking dance in the world. Every fucking player that scores a touchdown, there's like a 50-50 chance that they do the gritty. The gritty is so fucking stupid. Get a new dance. Come up with your own dance. It's just so dumb. It's a stupid TikTok dance, and I don't want it in my football.
Do you remember the commercials for Sunday Ticket? And it's the old man talking about how they have like close ups and everything's gonna be in better quality. And he's like, why don't we get bikini waxes while we're at it? Like,
I don't know.
just, if we're gonna be that close and looking at everything so closely, like, that's what it sounds like. Get TikTok out of my football.
Just fucking awful.
Yeah, I will admit it does look kind of stupid. I mean, it's just you do a double step on each foot really, and you swing your arms back and forth. It kind of reminds me of just that warm up one where you kind of like just you keep your legs straight and you kind of scoop at your foot. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, but and then they said make it funky.
Kill them. The ooh, kill them.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
The only thing the Browns really did this game was feed, like you said, Nick Chubb the ball, and it paid off for a couple touchdowns, but it's not going to win them every game.
Yeah, I think they're really missing Deshaun, which I wouldn't personally.
Um, uh, I'm interested to see crowd reaction when he comes back. It's not going to be pretty out there.
No, I really don't think so. I mean, Atlanta, it looked like they were bouncing off every time. It looks like they had no idea what geometry was or angles for that matter. I don't know if they can actually make a left or right hand turn with how shitty of the angles they were taking. This defense was flat. I mean, it just looked like it was the offense covered in oil. Or they were covered in oil. The defense was covered in oil. Because it was in their eyes, they couldn't see, and they would just kind of glance off every single time.
Yeah. The really thing that killed the Browns in this game was in the final 2 minutes, the Falcons they got a big sack on what Brissett,
Brisket, yeah.
and they're gonna try and make their third down, so they go to the air, and the Falcons, they intercept the ball and just waste away the clock,
Yep.
and that seals it away.
Yeah.
I will say though that you know this was a much more fun game to watch. It's more fun. Like if I'm watching like two shit teams and they're both shit, it's kind of like not good. But if you're watching like two like decent teams and they're
Mhm.
giving their all, that's way more entertaining. Like it's a back and forth, and you're seeing like them like just try to do anything, and it's just like small little mistakes
Yeah.
that kept the Browns from winning.
Yeah. And there really wasn't any pass game for him.
No, if you look at I mean, Browns threw for 226 passing yards. I mean, which is not nothing.
I mean, it's not nothing, but I mean, 200 yards is kind of like the minimum to be a starter. And even then, I feel like that's exactly that, the
He did
minimum.
more than Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, which that brings me on to a whole thing. Mariota, who
Ah,
cares? He's
like,
he's
yeah, he had his day in the Titans, and he got replaced for a reason.
yeah. I mean, he didn't do anything. At some point in the very beginning, I thought, hey, maybe he still is good. Maybe this will be okay. But there was just like the usual Falcons, and same issue with Matt Ryan. There's no running back. I mean, that's the only rushing TD that they had, or the rushing TD that only made any sense was a wide receiver had to do it. And Mariota, he's okay. He's
Falcons
a quarterback when you need him.
Falcons have 2 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. And I think the one is Cardell Peterson and then Caleb Huntley, which is man, he exploded in the third. And I don't know who was it Algier Tyler, their starting running back. He's not it. He didn't go anywhere. No. It wasn't until the third quarter where Huntley actually started making runs. But then almost immediately, like, okay, I think what was it? He throws, Mariota throws a pick in the third. It's a little behind, whatever. Next round or next drive for the Falcons, he literally just fucking hands it off for 7 or 8 straight run plays. And you know what Huntley does? Goes. And he just goes. He runs, he knocks it through. Avery Williams with that major run there as well. I mean, all he really was just he's a multimillionaire that is doing the job of a swinging tee to hand the ball off. But it didn't matter because that was the only time where their run game actually did something. The Browns were like, okay, yeah, we decided to come back. We took our 15-minute break.
Union 15.
Exactly, the player union 15. One thing that I want to point out in the passing game, Amari Cooper.
What about him?
I'm glad he's not fucking doing anything because it makes me feel better that the Cowboys left him or he left the. It doesn't matter. He was good when he made a couple plays when we needed him to, but he.
Anything that makes the Cowboys better disappoints me.
Oh well, there's gonna be not a lot of that. So.
Yeah, well, you have like a fucking paper thin fucking season.
Yeah.
Your whole fucking
Well, it doesn't help that we're in the NFC East. That's a garbage division.
You have like the easiest schedule I've ever seen. So do the Eagles. The Eagles is comically easy. I want to stop for a second. I know we're gonna bring off a tangent here, and I think I bring it up in the Eagles, but I wanna bring it up now because it infuriates me how easy the Eagles schedule it is. So I'm gonna pull up the Eagles schedule and I'm gonna read it to you. All right. So they just played the Jaguars, right? We'll get to that game here in a little bit. They then have the
Mhm.
Cardinals. Okay, more difficult game. They have you, the Cowboys. Okay, yeah. Then they had the Steelers, then the Texans, then the Commanders, then the Colts, then they got the Packers. Okay, then the Titans, the Giants, the Bears. They have you again, the Cowboys. Then they have the Saints, and then the Giants again. Like
The
that is
Packers and maybe the Cowboys are probably their biggest issue here. That's
yeah.
it. Those 3
Their
games.
their whole schedule in their first their first game they played the Lions, then they played the Vikings, and then the Commanders. Like they
Yeah.
have laughable like it is a laughably easy schedule, and it makes me
Yeah.
so mad. Yeah, I mean your schedule is no better. Before we get
Yeah.
talking about your Cowboys, I'll let you take the lead on that. But I want to go over your schedule because it is also comically easy. Minus like the Rams, and you got the
Yeah.
Eagles. You have the Lions, the Bears, Packers, the Vikings, the Giants, the Colts, the Texans, the Jags, the Eagles again, the Titans, and Commanders. Like again, another paper easy schedule. And then you go to the Buccaneers schedule, right? Let's go to the Buccaneers schedule. We had, back to back. Okay, we start out with the Cowboys. Okay, that was a close game. Then our division rivals, the Saints, we win that one. Then we got the Packers, then the Chiefs, the Falcons, the Steelers, the Panthers. Then we have the Ravens, then the Rams, then the Seahawks, the Browns. We get the Saints again. Then we got to play the 49ers, the Bengals, the Cardinals, the Panthers, and the Falcons again. It's like, what the fuck?
I
How
don't
can
know, man.
you
Like,
have
what do
to
you
like
like? I
face like
see.
the best like 4 teams in the league, 5 teams in the league?
Aren't they in your division?
Who?
I'm guessing the Falcons, the
I'm not worried
Saints.
about the Falcons. The Saints are our division rivals.
Yeah.
The Packers are in our division too. I mean, they're in the umbrella of it. But the Chiefs aren't.
Yeah, no, that sucked. But I mean, anybody who plays the Chiefs right now, it's Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, his coaching right now, his game plan is just amazing.
Why are we playing the Ravens?
That's a good question. Well, they're AFC, aren't they?
I don't remember. It's just bullshit. I want to complain about it.
Oh, mom, come pick me up. My friends are being mean to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's awful. It's awful over here.
Jesus, man. Talk about
All right,
leaving the sleepover at 11 o'clock because you got scared.
all right. Talk about your Cowboys and how you
All
fucking
right.
kick the teeth into the Commanders. 10-25, by the way. I
Yeah.
personally didn't watch this game because I knew you were going to talk about it, and I let you take over for it. I watched bits and pieces of it, but I didn't watch the whole thing.
To be honest, I have a lot more notes technically than I do have about like specific plays. Um, Cooper Rush, man. I mean, I feel like he's kind of like our Geno Smith right now. He's been around for a while. I think that I don't know, I feel like he's more comfortable. I know we've had him in there before and he's been kind of touchy. He's been touch and go. But I think it really comes down with him really understanding the offense and Mike McCarthy allowing him to move the play around and be confident in his decisions that Cooper is making. Zeke, man, our running game, it's great, but Zeke is not contributing the way he should be. Obviously, if you have Zeke in there, you're gonna run with Zeke. That's
I don't
there's no
understand.
question.
For 19, you got 19 carries, total of 49 yards. He's only averaging 2.6. I don't think he's it, Chief.
Like 2.5 yards max.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe there needs to be more play action with him. Maybe get him more on the chip block. I mean, we don't really have an issue right now with our offensive line. Actually, well, until is it the fourth quarter where the Commanders decide to show up. But other than that, there was no real reason. He can't catch out of the backfield. I don't know what it is. Every little route he runs, and it happens every single game. If he runs out of the backfield, you're gonna throw it to him. He's gonna be open, and he's gonna drop the ball. He is thinking about the run before he even decides that he's gonna put his hands up, and it shows me. He bounces off his hands every single time. Uh, Receiving. Let's see. We got back Michael Gallup, which is major. He's probably he's our number two at the moment, mainly just because CeeDee Lamb is just an excellent route runner. His technique isn't flawless, but maybe the one hit. He has head fakes. He has stop and goes where he really sells it, and he's getting options to run where he needs to. I mean, he just looks like he really understands how to just get open. He's a good receiver. And then we got Noah Brown. I mean, these guys are relatively new to the league. What, 5, 6 years? You know, they weren't really standout before they got here, but they are making a name for themselves, and that's something that I didn't really expect to see. I thought this was going to be, as soon as Dak went out, I thought maybe a rebuild year, specifically with our receiving core. But I mean, man, there you go. Like the CeeDee Lamb proved himself last year. Obviously, he was going to make the team. Noah Brown, same. But I just didn't think that they'd be making the impact that they're making here. Our tight end, I mean, he's no Jason Witten. I'm trying to think of it. Dalton Schultz. He's doing great. But he's another kind of a Witten clone, but the cloning process is starting to break down. The O line, man. It was great. I think Zach Martin went down. I think he rolled his ankle, and that's when the Commanders kind of woke up in that second half, and they started really coming after Cooper. You can tell that the line changes that they had to do were significant. You know, Cowboys O-line is very chemistry set. They know what each other's gonna do. They're they're very familiar with each other in the blocking schemes. And when they had to change that up for those couple plays, probably actually for the rest of the second half, I don't think they could really recover. And Dallas is a very emotional team. So once one thing starts happening, it's just a snowball effect. Defensive line, man. The Dallas line all over the place in a good way. They were running through, no issues whatsoever. Lawrence, Armstrong, Parsons, even our two tackles, I cannot pronounce their two names, but they're penetrating every single time. They are not really letting runs. Well, there are a couple runs, but they don't get more than 5-6 yards. They're getting to the quarterback. Wentz just keeps getting hit, and he's getting frustrated. You can tell. And I think that's really the biggest issue here. I don't know if Wentz, he had some great time over in Philadelphia. And I wonder if he's trying to, I don't know, not relive the glory days, but he's like, hey, when I was in Philadelphia, we kicked the shit out of the Cowboys. Not so here, man. You don't have the same team. You're not looking at the same Dallas from 2-3 years ago. And it shows when he's just getting upset. I mean, there's a time where he throws his water bottle. You can see on his face, he's just not very excited to be there. One thing I like about the Cowboys, their defense. Our secondary has been terrible for years. And to be honest, it's much better. But I think we are actually becoming a threat with Trayvon Diggs. He gives up more yards than anybody every time he's been targeted. Don't get me wrong. But he's a receiver that just likes to break quarterbacks' composure. That's what he is. He's not a cornerback. He's a receiver. I mean, he played receiver in college, I believe, high school, whatever it was. And I mean, he just likes the look on quarterback's face when he goes and runs the route better. The one thing I don't like about the secondary, and it's actually been the downfall for a number of years, and it's gotten better now because they're actually hitting, is the secondary doesn't wrap. They don't wrap up. There's no textbook tackling. I mean, I get it. There's a lot of much bigger people, but you're 180 pounds going or maybe 180 pounds going 200, 220 pound running backs. You know, on receivers, lay them out. Tight ends, I mean, obviously go low, but if you get one good receiver, I mean, if a Tyreek Hill comes up, puts a move, one-on-one, I mean, it's Tyreek Hill, but you gotta grab him. You gotta slow him down. I mean, it's just a lot of they're moving and playing their game plan, and luckily here with the Commanders, it worked out. But I see it being an issue if they don't start actually playing towards the player. So that's, and stop me if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer.
No, I'm just more or less like, the only question I have is, would you rather have Dak back, or do you want to keep Cooper?
I don't know, man. Dak, we put him on a pedestal too much. That's what it is. And we think he's going to be the next Troy Aikman, Roger Staubach. I mean, he's a good quarterback. 8.5, 9 on a good day. You know, he's consistent. But I don't know. There's just something about it. There's some unseen force that's just not allowing him to always be great.
Fucking brain.
And like it feels like it.
Like last year when in the playoffs, 13 seconds left, I'm going to run 10 yards, 20 yards.
Dak runs too long, Prescott. God, man.
We're going to get mad when the refs when we try to set our own ball and the refs have to set it.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. I think it's the awareness. I don't think he has that. He knows what's going on, but he doesn't have the awareness to pick up the subtle cues. And I'm hoping that changes with him being injured. Maybe he can sit out on the sideline more and really review game film instead of being out there and thinking that he just made a bad play.
Last year too.
Yeah.
Change him.
Yeah, but to me, that was more of a rehab and get back. You know, I think he kind of just chalked that up to, yeah, well, it's going to happen. But I think with Cooper actually doing well and Dak wanting to come back and kind of bring this momentum going, going throughout the season, I feel like he may, if he doesn't change here, and if he when he comes back in the 2-3 weeks, if he doesn't change, he's never going to. At that point, that's where we're gonna know for the next 5 to 6 years, as long as we have Dak, where this franchise is going.
Any other
Uh,
closing thoughts?
yeah, defensive line just needs to keep doing what they're doing, man. Dan Quinn is doing excellent with his blitzing schemes. The stunts up front, and don't get me wrong, the stunts will bite us in the ass every now and then when a big hole opens up. But our pass rush is fantastic, and it's just like with the secondary, it's too aggressive, and that's why rushes do get past us. Not Cooper rush, but actual rushing plays. Now, here's the thing. I'm not just going to fanboy the Cowboys. I had a couple things for the Commanders. I'm going to go fast with it because I don't care about the Commanders. Anybody else in the NFC West sucks. East, the West too. You guys suck. I don't even know who's in them, but yep. I mean, they did great in the run game. Dallas, like I said, with a bunch of defensive schemes, they're very heavy in the box towards the middle, not so much on the outsides. And the Commanders took advantage of that, definitely sealing it off, and that's how they were able to get this run going pretty well. Uh, I mean, it came at them quick. I think the offensive line, I mean, they were going up against a high-powered defense, but as a quarterback and as a coach, you need to know you got to go to that quick kryptonite for the defense or for the Cowboys, quick routes, and that's going to stop it every time. The defense didn't wake up until the second, and they ran the line pretty well, but it was too little too late. It felt like the momentum had already jumped, and they were missing, I don't remember, 2020 defensive rookie of the year. I can't remember his name on the D-line, but they already had a great D-line. It just wasn't getting anywhere. But I think it's also due to the injury for Zach Martin. Um, Discipline, man. A lot of penalties for him, specifically in the secondary. And I think the biggest thing is they have these faster, kind of smaller receivers. We didn't have these really tall, lanky. We didn't have the Des Bryans, the Coopers. We had the quick breaking routes. They weren't just all verticals. And even when it was, I mean, when they always ran those short routes, those quick breakings, every time the Commanders would jump on it, and then they'd get beat, and then they would have to tug and pull and bump and jump, and that's fine. It's football. That's what you're supposed to do as a defensive back. However, don't make it obvious. Come on, everybody knows there's pass interference every single play in the NFL. Even on a run play, there's pass interference in the NFL. But you have to have the discipline and know when to grab, how to pull. You got to have that extra initiative, that extra effort to get them a little closer and tug that jersey a little bit. Play the ball better. Think more of, I'm not going to make the tackle, I'm going to make the catch. And I think the Commanders really lost that there. Only other thing I have, Carson Wentz. I mean, you were looking for a superstar moment. It never came. Sorry, man. I see that you were trying to get something going. You were trying to extend the play, and I think that was another reason for a lot of the frustration when nothing was happening. I just don't think he knows the offense as well as he thinks he does, or he doesn't have the same rapport with the receivers, and I think that's what really killed him here. And until he gets back into practice and starts watching that hard game film and really understanding and getting with his receivers, it's not like the Cowboys are playing very solid. There's just a lot of pressure. And I think Wentz and the coaches had this kind of disconnect where maybe Wentz wanted to go into a different play. Maybe that's where a lot of frustration was going. But, the coaches wanted to run their game plan. I don't know what was going on, how it was going, or maybe they were just blaming Wentz for not making plays. But it was a nightmare for the Commanders. It really was. Other than the rushing game, God knows where it was going. And that's my Commander Cowboy setup.
Nice.
Thanks. I still had a lot more to talk about, but I think this is already like 2 hours.
Yeah, we're running on a little under 2 hours right now.
Okay.
We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more games to go, and then our predictions.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
no, I don't think anything's gonna be as long as that. So
no. Um. All right, so we're gonna move on to the Jaguars and Eagles. This is another game that I really didn't interest me all too much. I mean, the Jags never really put on a all that interesting performance, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, Trevor Lawrence, pretty lackluster. I want to say.
yeah, I think he might be a bust for the Jaguars, man.
Um,
He's got a lot of, I don't know, this charisma. Like you're excited to go watch him play, and
yeah.
then you remember, oh yeah, this is who he actually is.
Like, oh yeah, we're at a Jags game.
Yeah.
Other than that, the opening drive, the Jags did pick up. They got a pick six from the Eagles, which brought them into quick early lead.
Hmm.
And actually, they're the only ones that scored like the first quarter. It looked like the Eagles were gonna kind of run away with it if they kept that momentum. Eagles, Jaguars were gonna run away with it if they kept the momentum.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the first quarter, their offense, the Eagles are nowhere to be seen. But then they pick up a fumble in the second quarter, and they turn it into a pretty easy touchdown drive. And
Hmm.
then it's like in the second quarter, the Jags seemed to forget what defense was, and they allowed like 20 unanswered points.
Yeah, and I think this is when Hurts rushed in. Was that later on?
Do-do-do-do-do. Yeah, I think it was when they were doing the run passing game in the second quarter, because no teams did really anything in the third. There was no scoring in the third.
Yeah.
But what it did is it set the Eagles up early in the fourth quarter for a field goal,
Hmm.
and they Eagles forced a fumble, and they picked up a touchdown and midway through the fourth quarter, but they missed the extra point, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Um, but then and then all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence, he had this like spark of uh
Yeah.
like hope, and he throws like this 40-yard bomb. I'm sorry, a 50-yard bomb, and they turn it into like a touchdown the next play, but then that's it.
Hmm.
Um, they forced another fumble in like the last minutes of the fourth quarter, and they kind of like killed it off for the Jags. And yeah, like all I could say here is that the game was played. Neither team really had a passing defense, and the Jags just let the Eagles run all over them. And the
Hmm.
Eagles do remain undefeated, but like I said, they have a comically easy schedule, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yes.
Eagles
Yeah.
picked up
And
210 rushing yards to the Jags 71. I mean, they couldn't stop them.
no, they couldn't. And I mean, I don't know. Jalen Hurts, I don't think he's that great of a quarterback, man. I think he's just a running quarterback. They bring down somebody to do it, and then I mean, he's an NFL quarterback. You're in the NFL for a reason. You can pick up basic open calls. And I think he's just a running quarterback, and that's really all he has to him. With that being said, I think this is a very easy offense to stop. You stop Hurts, you stop everything. Because once you stop him, you always have somebody down in the box holding on him. But I think that the Jaguars are really struggling here in the secondary, and they just weren't able to afford to really have anybody in to watch him. Because I mean, their safeties and their corners, it looks like have the most tackles, the most assists. So I mean, there's nothing happening in the box. The defensive linemen, the linebackers, they're letting it all go through. It's up to them to shut it down. I mean, and then when you get hit so many times, the Eagles can just throw it right over the top when they need to on that easy drive. So I mean, they have to cheat up. They throw it over the top. They drop back. Jalen can easily get 10, 15 yards here, or throw it for 15, 20 if he decide to bite. It's nothing more than the Jaguars just being taken advantage of.
Yeah, I really have no final thoughts on this game. I mean, apart
Yeah,
from the Eagles' just comically easy fucking schedule, it
yeah,
blows my mind that they're 4-0.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no reason for that.
I believe they're the only team that's undefeated in the league right
Yes.
now.
Oh my god. And people are praising them. Philadelphia is going wild, but your team is shit. And that's not me as a Cowboys fan. That's
No, your
really what's
team is
going on
shit.
here.
Your
I'll be the
team is
first.
absolute garbage.
Yeah. Shit, I'll even be the first one to say Cowboys are not looking great this year. There's a lot of good, but there are key factors. With the Eagles, I think there's just it's a mediocre team that's playing against worse.
Yeah, it's like the fifth grade bully picking on like the first graders,
Right.
while the rest of the teams are out here playing like college ball.
Right. Red Rover. That's what it is. I mean, not then you like you said, there's nothing to say here. A couple of a fumble, a pick.
The game was played.
Yeah. The highlight reels maybe I mean really it's 6 minutes and the Eagles are four of it just because they kind of played football.
All right. The Bills and the Ravens, 23
Yeah.
to 20, going to the Bills. Surprised the Bills won this game, to be quite honest.
Oh my god, yes. They were playing like absolute donkey ass.
Yeah, the first opening drive, the Ravens pick off a touchdown, and they
Yeah.
turned it into a pick six. Not looking great. I mean, on paper, the Bills should have lost this game
Yeah.
for the most part. They really should have. Um, I think part of it is that the Bills were still feeling injuries from the last week when they were playing in Miami and all that heat, and people just going down left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And like the Ravens really just kind of dominated the first quarter, 3-14 in the first quarter.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, yeah, they had the weather, but it shouldn't have affected the Bills that much to where they couldn't get like a solid game plan. It just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I mean the weather it was a good drizzle the entire way through. The wind was really what was I feel like making it worse.
Even then, Josh Allen even came out and said, "Oh, I love it when it's like this in the rain, uh when it's like the ball's wet, I can like squeeze it more." And it
That's
really didn't show.
yeah, no, it did not. Now I will give it to him on that first pick that he did throw. That was to Knox, and the reason why I know this guy's name is because he threw it to him twice on that opening drive. I think it was 3 plays. First one to Knox on a curl route, a quick. And if you don't know what a curl route is for everybody out there, it's a route they run a certain amount of yards, they turn around and they make their way towards the quarterback about 3 to 4 yards, and they're expecting the ball. That's you attack the ball there. He runs the curl route, and it just he doesn't attack the ball, sails past him. Lazy route running, first play. Maybe he didn't stretch out enough. They run, get 2-3 yards, whatever. Sure enough, third play, they do the same route for Knox, but he's on the right side. You know what he does? Exact same thing. It wasn't that Josh Allen had a bad throw as much as it was Knox just being like, yeah, I don't give a shit enough to actually run this route. But like you said, I mean, what is Knox even the starter here?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, well, I couldn't tell you either. I mean, the guy just, it didn't seem like he was. He seemed like he was practice squad. He was just excited to be playing in the game. And the shell shocked, I guess, is what I could call his effort.
Oh, I got the ball. Look,
Yeah,
mom.
yeah, except he didn't get the ball because he was like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. But yeah.
There is a crazy, crazy play where in the second quarter there Lamar Jackson escapes a pass and Duvernay gets it.
Let's see. I think I know what you're talking about. The second quarter throw. I mean, it was a,
Yeah, he got
honestly, it was a,
bobbled
yeah,
and it landed in like Duvernay's hands.
yeah.
And it's pretty amazing that it get picked off.
Oh yeah, I mean, really, it was a lucky bounce and then great concentration. I'm trying to remember. I think it was Crowder that caught that. No, it wasn't. No, it was Crowder. It was I think Mark Andrews, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, the great concentration to just grab that ball was yeah that should have been Lamar's first pick, I think, of his
That
two.
too.
Yeah, so that would have
And
been the first pick of what should have been three.
and the Bills finally get a touchdown in like the last seconds of the second quarter.
Yep.
They finally decide to show up to the game in the third. And they catch a break and they grab an interception, but they squandered it.
Yeah.
I was just too in tune to this game to really be paying attention, taking a lot of notes because it's always so fun watching the Bills play, and especially Lamar Jackson, the way he
Oh
runs. He runs like
yes.
a video game character, and
He's the I wouldn't say he's the next Michael Vick or like a second coming, but he's got the
I think
Michael
he's better.
Vick.
I think he's better than Vic.
Oh, okay.
I think you give him another like 2 years, he will be remembered more than Vic will ever be. The kid's got a good like head on his shoulders. He's very
Yeah.
humble.
Mhm.
He's not out here to like, brag and do all this. He's here to show up, do his thing, get in, get out. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, on paper, the Ravens should have won this game. The Bills
Yep.
just came back, got the right plays at the right time, and they were able to come back.
Yeah. Uh, let's see. The honestly one of the two picks that Lamar threw, I mean, it was just a great heads up play by um by the Bills to put the D line put their hands up, deflect it, catch that interception. I mean, that was the lucky bounce that the Ravens had. The Lord giveth, the Lord taketh. Gave it right back. One thing, I mean, he is humbled, and I mean, I do definitely agree with what's going on. But in the fourth quarter, you can see, I feel like he was getting frustrated in the mid fourth, and I think that is the reason why he threw that pick because I think he kind of forced that throw in, and I don't know, maybe they told him to not run as much because there were a number of times where he could have ran, got 10, 15 yards, and with a slide.
Yeah, I believe that's what the game plan was. They tried to get Lamar to run a little less and stay in the pocket and try to make pass plays
Yeah,
to like avoid injury like they did last year. I mean,
yeah,
which is understandable.
yeah.
The Ravens were plagued by injuries last year, and I don't. And if they weren't injured the way they were, they probably could have made it uh to the bowl.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I mean, I understand, but with a game like this, the Buffalo Bills, this is a tough game. This is one of those games where you kind of leave it all out there. You're playing against the Jaguars. Hey, don't worry about it, Lamar. Just make your throws. Be cool, man. Yeah, well, even then, he wouldn't have to worry about it because he'd be running for 20, 30 yards. But I don't think the Bills gave enough respect to Lamar's run, and I think the reason why is because they knew he wasn't going to. And I think that frustrated him a lot in the fourth. There was uh what was it, a false start penalty. And I don't know, I don't think he meant to throw it, but he throws it and I think it hits one of his linemen in the back. Like he kind of just gives a toss, right? But he's not looking at the lineman. It's not intentional. I think he was really trying to just throw it to the ground because he was upset. But right there, as soon as I saw that, I mean, he's great under pressure, usually. But I think that they were trying to get him out of a game plan. He didn't like it, and I think they suffered for it. But yeah,
Yeah,
20 for 29. The guy's accurate. I mean,
I mean the both teams. I mean they did play well. I just still think that on paper the Ravens should have won. There's no reason.
yeah, they should have. I mean, what it was just. I feel like it was those interceptions. I think
Yeah,
that switched it, and I think that this switch in the game plan. I mean, the Bills should not have won. Josh Allen, there was no reason for it. He had 213 yards, but it came off of big plays, long balls, and I don't think that he does well. I don't know if it was maybe the rain, maybe it wasn't his day, but this man to man, and then the Ravens coming after him. I mean, I think he was hit a decent amount of times. I don't think there was really any. anything else, but yeah, I don't. It wasn't a good game for the Bills, and I think they got lucky to have Lamar kind of throttled, I guess is a good word here.
Throttled. Yeah, I guess that's what you would call them.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts?
Uh, Bills are struggling. They caught a major win here. Uh,
Yeah, they really did need this win.
and with this, I think the Buffaloes are going to carry it into next week. That being said, I want to watch it. And I want to see if the Bills maybe just had an off game. But that's the thing. I I it didn't feel like an off game. It just felt like it was all over the place, and they got lucky at the end.
All right. Moving on. The Carolina Cardinals versus the Panthers.
I mean, they
20
both have a C.
yeah, 26-16 with Arizona taking it. Um, there's something I wanted to preface before I talked about this game because I thought it was really, it needed to be said.
Yeah,
Um, it had come out, JJ Watt after the game was getting ahead of a leak. Um, uh, and I will quote, he went into arterial fibrillation on Wednesday and had to get his heart shocked back into rhythm the next day. Okay. Quote, for months we've been looking at ultrasounds of our baby boy, and they are all extremely happy. Then on Thursday we were looking at an ultrasound of my heart. It was very rough. It's been a rough week, but I'm happy to be here. JJ Watt went to play on Sunday, so he got his heart shocked back into like place. Was it Friday? And he's playing football on Sunday.
yeah, that's. I don't know, man. That seems something I think is wrong here. Uh, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it could happen randomly. Don't get me wrong; it is a thing that happens.
What is arterial fibrillation?
So it's whenever. So usually, when what happens is the top of your heart,
Mm-hmm.
your chambers will squeeze, or they'll open up, and then it's a rhythm. So it opens up, the blood comes in, the ventricles are squeezing. So it opens at the top, squeezes at the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, then at the top, it squeezes into the ventricles, and the ventricles they open up, and then it just keeps pumping like that, just 1 2 1 2. So what happens is with atrial fibrillation, they start spasming. So this one will go 1 1 1 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 2 2 1 1 2. You know, it'll just be all over the place,
Okay.
and that's basically what it is. Now, I don't know, man. Maybe he's running hot. Maybe he's trying. I don't know. But to just have AFib, be shocked, come back up. I know that the league. I don't know if you smelling salts are allowed.
I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna assume they're not allowed and they're just used anyways. No one talks about it
I think so.
because that seems like one of the things where they're not gonna really say anything about it because it's not like a performance enhancing drug.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't like I said, I don't want to speculate, but I mean, I don't know. You don't really just get AFib, atrial fibrillation, without something shocking you or some type of outside factor. But with that being said, it could have just been him running too hot. You know, those guys are on a number of vitamins, you know, supplements, and I'm sure everything's cool. You can probably piss test him; he's cool. But I think he's just running too hard, too fast, and it caught up to him real quick. And I think he might be taking it slow with it now, but who knows?
Sounds like he's taking it slow.
Yeah, yeah, right. He's right back into it. So that's what kind of leads me to think, oh, I just won't do that anymore. And that's why I think that there's something else going on. But I don't know. I didn't look at EKGs, ultrasounds, you know, I got no idea what's happening. I don't see anything. But just from my standpoint, something just seems weird.
Alright. So moving on to the game itself. Nothing really happened in the first quarter. It was just a bunch of what looked like practice ball.
Yeah,
Neither really got close to the red zone, let alone close enough for a field goal. So this is another game where it suffers from the fact that it had to go, or like the game had to be played,
yeah,
and there's really not much to talk about here, other than like an interception here in the second quarter to get a pick six from the Panthers. And like the Panthers really took this game early on in the second quarter, where it's like
hmm
10-3, and then they just kind of shut down. And then the Cardinals get a touchdown, and the Cardinals get like two more touchdowns, and it's just like
yeah,
in the fourth, and it's just like there's really nothing much to talk about here. Uh, the really killed the Panthers here is that they scored a touchdown, right? And they tried
hmm
to go for a 2-point conversion, and but during that whole thing, they just don't waste any clock, right?
yeah, yeah,
And uh, it led to the Cardinals just having enough time to go drive down the field
right. I
to get the
mean,
points that they needed.
yeah, they had no problem. They had all the time in the world. There was no reason to hurry. Their run game was doing decent enough that they were able to waste even more time. Panthers had no. They just didn't have any time. That's really all it came down to. Really, the Panthers couldn't get anything going on the ground. Uh, Baker Mayfield. That's.
Jesus, yeah.
I'm glad he found a home after the Browns. Boy, should have stuck with the Browns, man. The
Yeah,
Panthers, it was never going to work with you. The Panthers have been struggling for years now.
yeah, but the Panthers needed a quarterback, and Baker
They
wanted
did.
to leave.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think he should have. I think he probably wanted more say so. He probably wanted a team that was going to be centered around him the way he wanted it. That's a lot of the issue. I mean, that's why Russell Wilson left. He thought he wasn't getting enough say, and maybe that was it for him. With that being said, I think he was in a good spot where he was. I just don't think that he was being utilized correctly, and I think that the coaching staff was not giving him enough looks, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Like I said, there really wasn't much to talk about with this game other than the JJ Watt stuff.
Yeah. Kyler Murray is supposed to be this amazing quarterback. He did okay.
Yeah, okay, and that's about it. He's a
Yeah.
like again, he's another running quarterback.
Yeah.
He can throw the ball. I mean, he can really throw the ball.
Yeah. He's got an arm still. Like he is athletic.
But I just don't know. I think part of it's his height. He's not a very tall quarterback either.
Yeah. What is he? Yeah. Only 5'10". I don't think he's taller than any of his linemen. How he doesn't throw into a helmet every time, I have no idea.
Yeah, that man is jumping and throwing apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just not much going on with some of these games this week. Like
Yeah.
even the next one, the Broncos and this Raiders game. Oh, I'm sorry. You got any final thoughts on the Cardinals and the Panthers?
No, I think it's another Eagles situation. Kyler Murray's great. I think he could be better if he really cements his. I don't. If he proves to be more of a threat with the long ball, I think that's the next evolution in his game. He does that, keeps what he's doing. He's a physical runner, but he also knows how to break tackles. He doesn't go into the contact, and I think he can do great. He just needs to get that long ball down, and from there, or get it down accurately, I should say, because he has done a couple. He can throw far, but is it consistent? What's the game plan to incorporate that to make this team a better way to go? Panthers, just a shit day. Got shut down on every run, mostly every run. I mean, a couple plays here and there. Baker Mayfield. I don't know if it's a new team or what. Two interceptions. I mean, it just there's nothing to talk about for the Panthers. It was just a bad day. Go back to game film, go back to running your stuff, and go back to what works. Maybe they were trying to something new. They thought maybe they could pull one over on the Cardinals at 1-2. They thought, we're also 1-2. What do we have to lose? Let's play. But I don't think it worked out.
we did not.
Uh,
All right. Broncos and Raiders. Uh, 23-32. A little bit more interesting game than I thought this was originally going to be. Um, other than, like the first opening drive for the Raiders is a field goal. That's the only points that they get for the first. And then, the Broncos get like this amazing drive and they just go right into the end zone. And with the in the late first quarter, they kind of started getting rid of their fear of like scoring in the red zone,
yeah.
which is good because Russell Wilson for like 3 weeks now, 4 weeks now has had the Broncos could not score in the red zone to save their life. They could not. Um,
Yeah. Well,
though
I
what
think
it
that Russell Wilson's he's a long ball type of quarterback. I mean, you can see in his stats, not a lot of attempts, but higher yardage ratio.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they can't do anything in the end zone. I think everything you say is absolutely correct.
Um, the Raiders though they're just running over the Broncos. I mean, this is another Swiss cheese situation where they
Oh
are
yeah.
like the Broncos have 85 total rushing yards, and the Raiders have 212. You know, almost like triple of what the Broncos have.
Yeah.
Um, and then for some reason in the second quarter, the Raiders try an onside kick when they're in the lead. I don't know what was going on
Yeah.
there, but it failed
Yeah.
because like 90% of onside kicks do.
Yeah.
They were been better off to fucking just kick the ball like a normal fucking team. I
Right.
don't know what was going on there. But yeah, like
Maybe I don't know, man.
I there's like no explanation for it. Um, then you get like Russell Wilson, and like you said, he's like a long ball player. He throws like 49-yard pass down the field. But
Mm,
again, this fear of scoring in the red zone, they can't do it. They have to
yep.
settle for a field goal. Um, And then the Broncos tried like doing the whole running thing to keep a drive alive. And then you get this beautiful thing where they're like trying to run the ball, and then you get Melvin Gordon who drops the ball and it lands in the arms of Robinson, and he wasn't ready for it. And he runs his way back to a for a touchdown. And
Jesus.
I think that was like one of the last times the Broncos ran because they just go strictly to the air at this point because they're more successful. You get a sliding touchdown in like the last 2 minutes of the second quarter,
Yeah.
and then
And then
we get on the extra point. We complete the trifecta of the butts. We got the butt fumble. We got the punt block, and now we got a butt fucking field goal extra point block.
yeah.
Oh my god!
I don't
And
even know how that happens.
he just kicked it too low, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck, man? What is going on with these fucking kickers and aiming for their homies' asses?
Also, another thing, what is going on with all these more blocked field goals, blocked punts? It feels like it never happened, and now it's just become a thing in the last 2, 3 years.
I don't know. Yeah, you used to see it never happen, and when it did, it was like everyone lost their minds.
Yeah.
Um, at halftime, Raiders sneak in a field goal to break their tie. That's going
Hmm.
on, and then from there, it kind of just the Raiders just run away with the game. They got a 43-yard run on that in the third quarter. Yeah, like I said, nothing really went on there. They
Hmm.
got a field goal. There's just a lot of sacks from by both sides of the teams. They had no like O line, D line, O line, be O line because yeah, sack. O line off defense.
Yeah.
They are just getting mauled out there. Uh, but yeah, and then the Raiders get like this 43-yard run, that they turned into a field goal, and it's like a shame. The Raiders need to really work on like their passing game. I mean, their run game they got down pretty well. There's no complaints there. Uh, and then yeah, Russell Wilson just for the last like they get one more touchdown in the end zone. The Broncos do. It's just not enough.
Yeah.
But and then the Raiders get the ball back. They kill 4 minutes off the clock and score a touchdown. And the Broncos are trying to get a drive going, but they drop a pass on the fourth, and it gives the Raiders a win. The Raiders absolutely murdered the Broncos, the running game, when they
Yeah.
got like a pass defense and allowed
Mm.
Russell Wilson to throw deep balls into the territory. Also, uh, what the fuck was Garrett Bowles doing?
At
Uh,
what point?
so Garrett Bowles
Yeah.
is a is a Broncos
Offensive tackle.
yeah, and this is when this is when that fumble happened in the second quarter where the
Yeah.
ball just fell out of Melvin Gordon's hand. You see, you see him running down the field, trying to catch up to uh uh
Robertson. Yeah.
Robertson, and it's not gonna happen. There's just too much of a difference. So this man is like a good 6 yards behind him, and he dives to go and try and tackle him. It is really pitiful. If you haven't seen the video, you should watch it. It's
Oh my god.
hilarious. But yeah, the Raiders pick up their first win of the season, so good for them.
No, you got me now. I gotta
Oh, you have to go and watch it. Yeah,
I gotta see this shit now.
it's great.
There it
Yeah,
is. And
he's
at the
running.
10-yard line, he's like,
Yeah, he tried, man.
I like how nobody even attempted to block him. They're like, he's
Oh
never gonna
my
fucking get
god.
there. He was part of the fucking entourage going in, man. They were not getting bounced out of this club. And then you have your weird fucking white boyfriend who's like, yeah, sucker. And you're like, oh, well, we just got kicked out. That's what that was.
Oh no, his wife was watching, right? And apparently there she tweeted out, right? I'd be lying if I said I didn't die laughing. Good effort though, babe. Laugh crying emoji heart. And it's just a picture of his wife uh clowning. Just has a snapshot of him doing his dive and she's clowning on him. He
There's
gets a
something about a wife like being like, hey, I support you 140%, but what the fuck?
yeah, man, he gets an A+ for effort.
Dude, S rank, Z, he should be on the top of every one of those rating fast food burger fucking things. That's how great of an effort that was. Oh my
God.
god.
Moving on to the
Yeah.
Patriots and the Packers, 24-27.
Yeah.
This game had was just kind of like a slugfest back and forth between two teams that I really did not like watching.
Because you don't like the teams or because who
Both,
cares?
both. I mean, I kind of got to care about Green Bay. They're a division rival.
Yeah.
Um, and they just beat us last week. Um, Patriots start off early for a drive in the first quarter for a field goal. Those are the only points scored in the first quarter.
Hmm.
Uh, Packers make a drive, but it's a forced fumble, and the Patriots do nothing with that fumble. Um, Packers get a drive downfield and get a touchdown finally in the second quarter. And then both teams have a bad pass defense, and both teams' O lines collapse so fast.
Yeah.
In the last 2 minutes of the quarter, the Packers force a fumble from Zappy, which is the new. He's the other only other rookie in in the league right now that's playing.
Yeah.
Uh, and the Packers turn that drive into nothing as well because Aaron Rodgers gets picked off, and Jack Jones goes back for a pick six. Um, Packers then get down the field finally. They make a drive using a combo of like a couple big runs and Aaron Rodgers bomb passes to get a touchdown.
Yep.
In the third quarter, New England catches a huge break. About at the 5 minute mark on the clock and the in-game clock, they should have gotten a delay of game. They really should have. Like that clock hit zero, and they went like a full like second to 2 seconds over, where it should have been
Mhm.
like an easy flag. They got
Yeah.
super lucky that the refs didn't call that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Belichick paying off the refs and all.
That
Um,
yeah. Which is
at the
surprising. The way he tries and look for loopholes. If I was a referee, I'd be fucking dinging him
oh yeah,
on everything.
I make it my mission.
Yeah.
At the end of the third quarter, the Packers make a drive upfield. They get a field goal to tie the game. Patriots make a drive down the field to get another touchdown, and the game's tied again.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Then the Packers get another touchdown, and the game is tied again. Yeah,
Yeah.
the fourth quarter just goes a little crazy. Nothing really happened in this game. They just like kind of traded like field goals and touchdowns.
Yeah. It was
Uh,
exciting to watch the back and forth. And will
Not
they? Won't
even,
they?
not even because most of these goals are coming at the end of the quarter. So you're going from like quarter
Uh.
to quarter with like nothing happening except for like the last like 2 minutes of it.
Yeah. And
Uh,
that's very surprising to me. I mean,
like we go in the
the
fourth
rushing
quarter.
was great.
In the fourth quarter, the last 6 minutes of the game, nothing happens. No team is either to do anything. It's sloppy ball. Um, and then the game takes a whole of overtime for someone to get a scoring drive, and it was the Packers who just run, just like get these like 10 yard runs, 5 10 yard run, 5 10 yard run, and they finally get close enough to the Patriots finally stop them, and then they just kick a field goal, and it's like the last 4 seconds of overtime.
Yeah.
It was just like a game of like a whole bunch of nothing, but because of the names behind, like the coaches and the names behind it, people are gonna watch it. I
Yeah.
honestly thought this was not a great game. Uh,
No.
the us losing to the Packers last week, I don't see how it happened if the Patriots are holding them to this. So I don't know. You got anything to say about this
Yeah.
game?
I mean, I'm looking back on the stats. I mean, the defense was kind of the only reason why the defense has as much stats as they do is because it was mainly a run game. I mean, bro, for the Patriots, I mean, Bailey, their second string to Mac Jones gets dropped. Brian Hoyer, their third, comes in trying to get something, but it's all rushing. And they bring in a couple things and they try and make something happen, but I mean, for the Patriots to hang on as long as they did with the third string, running against the Green Bay Packers, who do have a tough run defense. I mean, I don't understand how the Packers didn't just end this. I mean, maybe Aaron Rodgers. I guess this is the most important stat, I think. 21-35. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he wasn't very accurate, and that one interception he threw,
Well,
who knows what
I
happened
wouldn't
there.
say Aaron Rodgers is inaccurate. It's mostly his young receivers who are dropping passes. I
Oh,
will
a lot
say
of.
that.
Oh, okay. Well, then there you go. That's what it
I
is. I
mean,
mean, what does he have here?
he did overthrow maybe like once or twice, but most of those are coming from his like young receivers dropping passes. I will say
Yeah, I'm looking here. The only one that I can see in his receiving core that's a name worth remembering is really just Randall Cobb. I mean, Alan Lazard, he has a great game, but he's a third quarterback or he's a third string receiver. You have your X, you got your Y. Shit, I don't even think he's a third. He's probably fourth. You know, when someone goes down, that's when he comes up. And he had a decent enough game, and I guess everybody else. I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. It was just a lot of drop plays, and yeah, that's all it was. Green Bay had it on paper. It should have been an easy,
it should have been a runaway game.
yeah. And I don't know how. I mean, I guess that's what it is. You blame the receivers. There's nothing going there. I mean, the defense did well enough. I mean, they got to 24. They still the Patriots still have a great offensive line, and that's really what I think helped them get to that 24, along with Bailey Zapp, coming out strong. 10 for 15, 99 as a backup. But The rushing is what kept them in this game, and just enough to beat Green Bay. Green Bay gave it to them with those drop passes, and I don't know, just a too young of a team at the moment. Maybe in 2-3 years they can come back, but I don't know, man. Aaron Rodgers is.
I don't know.
It's been.
You got an aging Belichick. He's not
That's
gonna
also
be a.
true.
He's not gonna. I don't know. You don't. It's not guaranteed he'll be here around in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Well, and Aaron is going to be gone by then too. So this
Yeah.
this game was going to be I imagine this game happening yet again 2 years later, unless somebody picks up somebody. At least, well, it's going to come down to who's going to get the better quarterback, and I mean it's not going to be exciting to watch. You might have you have the young, oh, it's mysterious, it's new, this is my first love. But I think 3 or 4 games in, like we're at right now with these 4 games in, you kind of know what you got. And Green Bay being 3-1, it makes sense. You know, Aaron Rodgers, he's a great quarterback. He can open up the game, and you have to give him the run, because if you don't, he's gonna make you pay over the top.
Anything else?
No, Green Bay lost it. I
Green Bay won it.
or not, well, Green Bay won it, but it shouldn't have been that close. Patriots, congratulations to your own line, and your running backs obviously have no problem really getting in there. So I think their rushing is gonna take them far. Depending on who they get, I think the New England Patriots probably win next week with just the run.
Chiefs and Buccaneers.
Whoa.
41-31. I have a lot to say about this. Oh boy. Right off the bat, the Buccaneers drop a kickoff, and the Chiefs turn it into a touchdown in 2 plays. They scored a touchdown in like 45 seconds or something like that. And just from there on, it set the whole tone of the night for the Bucks. You know, I thought I was getting our receiving core back after they've been out for like various reasons. Them all coming back this week would have been a good thing. Turns out not really. We try to make a drive, but we're unable to make it to the end zone. We had to settle for a fucking field goal. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is a team that we beat 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, and they're missing some of their star players that they had in that game. Also, I should have brought this up earlier. What the fuck is up with the new Apple Watch? I can track a woman's ovulation cycle, and I don't know how I feel about that. Not like trying to say like as a man you shouldn't know these things or you should care. I'm saying like what's next? Are they gonna check like the man's sperm count or something? Or how quickly you're like moving up and down, if you catch my drift? Like I don't
Yeah, how
necessarily
many
want
thrusts per orgasm?
I necessarily don't want Apple to know this information.
Well, that's what they're gonna do, and they're gonna
It's
post it
like a
next to your Tinder profile as like a
well
stat.
they'll know because then they can like send you like, oh hey, you can go to the baby doctor. Hey, do you want to make this? And they're gonna like sell you ads. They're gonna use it for advertising.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
and I don't know how I feel about that. As a woman,
It's,
you should you should really think about it if you want Apple to know these kind of things.
yeah, that's way too much information being put out. Shit, it's too much information to know that I'm texting somebody and the contents of my text messages.
Yeah. Let alone that stuff.
Yeah.
Um, we're also the getting back to it. The Buccaneers were struggling to contain the Chiefs passing game. But what we did is we started limiting them to like these short, like 3 to 4 yard passing plays, but they're still getting them off to get first downs. Um, all those little plays add up, and they still get another touchdown. I mean, Tom Brady still threw for 385 yards. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Where like Patrick Mahomes throwing for 249. Uh, it's
And also
ridiculous.
Brady, almost 80%.
Almost 80%.
The man carried he scored every single one of those points.
Oh
Let's be
yes.
honest.
The Buccaneers just couldn't do anything in the first quarter. the Chiefs' offense has been contained to like small yards, but they're adding up. Uh, we actually got kind of like decimated in the first half. Yeah, we came back and we scored 2 touchdowns, but so do the Chiefs, and they're already up by 2 touchdowns. We finally showed up in the second quarter, but it was all for like really not. We stopped the Chiefs at a like important like 4-1, but then like literally then like next play, they force a fumble and they get the ball back and they turn it into a touchdown. It's like we can't just catch a break. Our defense is not doing what they're supposed to. Our offense is not doing what they're supposed to when they're supposed to. The Bucks are out here playing like a fucking high school football team, and you know what? I probably would have bet on them instead.
I
It was
mean,
fucking ridiculous. It was really sad to watch. Like it got to a point where I stopped watching in like the fourth quarter because it was just sloppy football from the Buccaneers.
yeah. And then the no rushing whatsoever to speak
No,
of for the
we have like
Buccaneers.
no rush game. We
I
have
think how many
we have
times did they try it? Like
we had
7 or 8?
3 rushing yards.
Yeah.
3 rushing yards.
And don't get me wrong, you guys have a good receiving core.
Yeah, we almost
Godwin,
have
Evans,
we almost have a too good of a receiving core. We have
Julio
nothing for
Jones.
yeah, but yeah, we have like 3 rushing yards, so it's not like we have a run game. Our
Yeah.
run game has never been our hot suit, but our defense is supposed to be better.
Yeah. And it wasn't the pass defense. I mean, it looks like they were breaking up passes, and like you said, it's a lot of these short things. Right here, right there, right here, right there.
There's really nothing you can do to stop that. I mean, there
Right.
is, but I mean, it's gonna happen regardless.
Right. Those, I think what they came down to is they knew that Kansas City knew they got to come out here, play conservative, go with the high percentage passes, and just move down the field. Because the Bucks, they're gonna score. Tom Brady will score. He's gonna do everything in his power to, if nothing else, 30-yard field goals, 20 even.
The man has 385 yards.
Yeah, I mean, what can you? And the only one field goal, by the way, the one field goal, and they have 31 points.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the Chiefs, they were decent at the decent run, but it was just a lot of they knew that they had to just get there. And I guess they, you get that's exactly what they did. These short passes bring those linebackers out, try and cover the flats or those little 5 and ins, 5 and outs, and as soon as they see that, they just they do a draw play. That's all they need. Draw play. Got 4 men rushing. Just hit the gap. It's right there. You got a double team on one side. One guy's going the other way. Run towards your double team. A basic junior high Pop Warner football is what they were playing, and they knew that they had to play it, and they knew that it would be easy enough to play it. I don't know, man. I'm looking at your defense here, and I'm trying to see. I mean, there's nobody worth really. Here, see, there's no one that you don't have a defense really.
Devin White,
It's
Levante David, Mike Edwards,
yeah,
and that's pretty much it.
but that's linebackers and secondary. Your defensive line is not there at all,
We have like no
and
cornerbacks.
yeah, and they know that they can attack those cornerbacks and
Yeah, the Bucks are
take
more
those
about like the
linebackers.
upfront defense, and if you're gonna get the ball off deep, we're gonna stop you. I mean,
Yeah.
you might catch the ball, we might not pick you off, but if you do get it, we're gonna stop you. And we're not
Yeah.
about like the letting you get we're trying to stop you from getting the deep plays. And
Yes.
I don't know how that's gonna work out for us in the long run.
Yeah, and I mean for the most part it's okay because you have the cheat code that is Brady.
Yeah.
But you can't expect Brady to be doing this, man. Every single
Yeah,
game.
the man's trying
He's
to rush out.
45.
He's trying to rush out to get his early bird special.
Yeah. Apparently there's a divorce in the midst somewhere.
Not confirmed.
Not confirmed, by the way. This is all speculation, according to CNN, and us, which is barely qualifies as news. So like you got to think, man. I see if this doesn't turn around and if the defense doesn't start playing, I see Brady maybe retiring mid-season and being like, you know what, I love this game, but maybe he loves his wife more, or
This
maybe
is
he just
this is definitely Brady's last season. Like, there's no
yeah
doubt about it. I
yeah
think he's come out and said that.
yeah. But my thing is he gonna leave early? He was sacked once. I don't think he had a lot of. I mean, I wouldn't say pressure, but I don't think he had a lot of hits. Pressure, one sack. At least the O line is good enough to allow him to sit back there and do what he has to do.
Yeah, it just wasn't good enough this week.
Yeah, Brady, get it together. 90% next week. What are you doing?
Now we need to really work on our rushing yards. That's for
Yeah,
the past 2 weeks. That's been shut down.
yeah. And I think you guys got
We got the Falcons next, so we'll probably be
yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah. Who did the Falcons play? I know they got absolutely. Was it the Browns?
Yeah, it was the Falcons Browns.
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong, Nick Chubb is great, but they had holes that were massive. So I
Yeah,
really
and
see,
our whole defense is about shutting it down up front.
yeah,
So, and like you said, we have the cheat code that is Tom Brady. So we'll
yeah,
probably beat him out in the air too.
yeah,
But we really need to win. We really needed to win these two big games. I mean, we're 2-2 right now. Kansas City's 3-1.
yeah.
It just stands to be tested. I mean, what is
Uh,
Green Bay right now? Those are we probably gonna face them in the playoffs. I forgot to look at what Green Bay was.
3-1.
Yeah, Green Bay's 3-1.
Yeah, I'm thinking Buccaneers wild card, man, and that's if the defense will hold up against in these one or two key plays or key games.
Yeah, we got the LA Rams coming up soon. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know. Speaking of the LA Rams,
let's get into it.
Rams and 49ers 9-24. 9-24.
Yeah,
Um,
wasn't expecting that, especially with I think
neither
it
was
was last week's game for the 49ers.
The Rams make a drive down the field for their first field goal out of 3 field goals.
Yeah.
The 49ers defense on both sides of the ball, it's fucking impeccable. They're like brick shit houses out there.
Yeah, there was a lot of hits and a lot of oh, there we go. Yeah, a major linebackers getting in there more than anything. I think that I mean San Francisco was bringing the rush.
Oh yeah, 100%. Um, they're making these short. Make 49ers are kind of doing what the Chiefs were doing. They're making like their short passes into big plays. Um, the Rams are trying to make a drive downfield by like the same thing, the short little gains, and all they're getting out of them is field goals.
Yeah.
And then you get like Debo Samuel in the last 3 minutes of the second quarter, who gets like a 10-yard pass and he turns it into a 60-yard touchdown,
Yeah.
weaving in and out of like Rams defenders.
Mm.
I mean, that man just kind of like smoked
Just
him.
turned it on.
Um,
Smoked the
and
whip.
then he smoked him.
Oh.
Uh, and then in like the last 40 seconds of the second quarter, I don't know if you saw this one yet or not. In the last 40 seconds of the second quarter, a protester ran onto the field holding like a pink smoke cartridge. You know, those like
Yeah.
things for like uh gender reveal parties that everyone loves to use.
Yeah. Yeah,
He
I
said
saw
like
him get
Cal-
laid out.
California on fire. Yeah, he was protesting a trial of 2 men in Utah about farm conditions in Utah.
That's
So he goes to a Rams game to protest about it. That's a smart idea there. I'm not gonna
nobody
I'm not gonna name the organization because it's not worth giving them more attention to.
That's
Um,
fair.
uh, that and he was doing it. He was running up the field until the Rams player Bobby Wagner laid his ass out.
Yeah, helmet, by the way. Hit him. The helmet's a helmet. Helmet's a crown of the head. And
Oh,
he's out, dude. He's
that would
sat
have been
down.
that would have been a penalty, but thank God that man was not a player.
Yeah, just a civilian. Do what you will.
He had to take some frustration out somewhere, and of course, um, and then again, not a lot happened in the third quarter of this game. The Rams got their third and final field goal.
Yep.
And it was just mostly a bunch of useless plays by the Rams, apart from they got a field goal out of it. But yeah, uh, early in the fourth quarter, the 49ers get a field goal, and they get the ball back. They drive down the field after the Rams flail about on the field, uh, and
For
they
lack of
miss
a better word, yeah.
and they miss a field goal. The only way they're scoring points, can't miss those. And then you're about midway into the fourth quarter, and the Rams are trying to set up a screenplay, but it's picked off, and the 49ers get a pick six. And the very next drive, 40 uh the 49ers force a fumble from Matthew Stafford. They kind of like knock the ball out of his hand when he's like in the back process of throwing it forward,
Yeah.
and they shoot the ball forward, right? The 49ers defender's like hand like shoots the ball forward to make it where it looks like he had like forward progress. And
Mhm.
then there's a 49ers player that's trying to pick up the ball. Another Rams player is like, "Oh, I'm going to go try and dive on the ball to be like an asshole." And they kind of scuffle for it.
Yeah.
Uh, but a 49ers player comes up with it, and they're looking at it. The refs call a fumble, and the 49ers recover it. So it was a fumble, but it was like the most half-assed like fumble recovery by him I've ever seen. It was just because they didn't realize it was a fumble. I think
Everybody's just looking
both,
around
both,
like,
both
oh,
teams I think thought it had forward progress,
yeah.
and he was just sacked while doing so. And it was the 49ers that happened to be able the ones that were picking it up.
Yeah.
But that kind of just sealed away the game for the Rams. Uh, Other than that, the Rams didn't score a single touchdown. They also didn't make a play for more than 20 yards, right? No one play was for more than 20 yards. Cooper Kupp makes up for half of the total Rams yards gained, by the way. And
Yeah.
same thing, and Deebo Samuel makes up a third of all 49ers yards. And both of those men had monster games that last night.
Yeah. Absolutely. They didn't get, I mean, Cup and Samuel. I mean, mainly. I mean, they had great games, and it wasn't really a lot, to be honest. They just really turned it on when they needed to. I mean, like I said, Debo with that little 10 yard that he took to the house. I mean, that's what you're looking for in a across the middle type of receiver. Cup, he had a great game. It was a lot more. I think he just got targeted a lot more, which is still good. Obviously, Matthew Stafford believes in him. With that being said, though, I see a lot of work going to Cup and Higby and nothing else going to anybody else.
No,
And I think the reason why, I mean, I'm looking at Matthew Stafford right now. I mean, he's a decent quarterback. He's had two almost 4,000 yard seasons. I don't know if it's been injury or what that stopped him in between that, but he can be a great quarterback. With that being said, he does throw that pick. I think there's a lot of kind of maybe a miscommunication, just some ball drops. And I think that they definitely, this nine, I feel like at least one of these should have been a touchdown. To me, this should have been more of a 13-24. Only other thing I can really talk about, this fumble that was, unfortunate, but it's going to happen, man. You got to protect your quarterback. Don't think there was really any.
no.
I mean,
The
the
49ers just kind of
yeah,
kicked the Rams' teeth in.
yeah, yeah. The 49ers were all over Matthew Stafford, and a lot of these passes, I'm guessing, were under pressure, just trying to get it out there, and that's probably why he went to Cup so much because he knew that if he just threw it in that area, I mean, Cooper Cup, he's a great receiver. You throw it at him, for the most part, he's
Kupp is
gonna
not
catch
even.
it. He's
I don't
no
even
issue
think
with it.
Kupp is a receiver. He's a tight end.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. Tight end. But that's what I was gonna move on to. He's
No, no,
that
no, 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 no.
possession.
He is
No,
a
no, no.
wide
He's a wide
receiver.
receiver.
I lied.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's that possession receiver. He's that bigger, stronger, gonna go up and grab it receiver. That's the one you want to throw to, and that's the safety net that Stafford has. I mean, I don't think there was really much to it. The offensive line just let him get hit way too much. The defense really came through, and then just that fumble and that interception. Without those two turnovers, I think this game would have been much closer, probably a 16-13 San Francisco, just on sacks alone and everything else. But if those two turnovers had changed, actually, I think I see the Rams kind of eking this one out. But that being said, eking it out. I don't know what was going on the offensive side of the ball. Maybe there was an injury in the O line or something, but I don't know, man. But they're gonna have to get it together and really shore up that offensive line for Stafford to really show himself. He's gotten hit already. He played with the Lions for 7 or 8 years. He's been through the ringer. He's not a rookie. Quit letting him get hit. He's learned his lesson.
All right. Well, that was the last game. Um,
Yeah. What are we at? 4 hours?
we're at just under 3. So we're going to rapid fire our predictions for week 5.
Ooh, I like it.
Uh, Colts Broncos, what are you thinking?
I don't know, man. I like your 18-24, but to be honest, I'm liking the Colts here.
You
Uh,
like the Colts?
yeah, weirdly enough, I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know what it is. Just
You're going to take Matt
something.
Ryan over Russell Wilson?
Yes, and the reason why is because Matt Ryan has no problem seeing over the tops of the heads of his people. So I actually have the Colts. I think it's gonna be a lower scoring game. The Broncos are gonna come out heavy, but I think it's gonna be probably about a 16-14. Or yeah, I'm guessing 16-14.
All right. Giants and Packers. I'm going for a 23-17 to the Giants. I think
Oh,
I think the Giants with Saquon Barkley and their running game, I think they're going to be able to get one over on the Packers.
yeah. I mean, it was
Packers aren't doing as well as they should be this year.
yeah, and the running game, I'm gonna have to give it to you. I think it's gonna be a 23-17. Maybe a little closer. I'm gonna go 21-20 Vegas odds. I'm
All
I'm
right.
thinking, yeah, the Packers are gonna try and make it downfield. They're not gonna have enough time. They're gonna have to kick a few field goals because they're gonna have to try and put some points on the board, especially very early when the Giants come out and Saquon Barkley runs it all the way down.
All right. Lions and Patriots. I'm going for a 34-24 to the Lions. The
Ooh.
Lions just do not stop playing football, like we said earlier.
They
They are
don't.
like machines. They do not care what the score is. They are just going to pick up the ball and they're going to keep going. It doesn't matter if they're in the lead. It doesn't matter if they're losing. They just keep playing ball. And I think with the Patriots young team with Zeppe at the helm, I just don't think they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and to be honest, the only reason why I feel like they would score 24 points would be because of their running game, at least. But in the Lions, really lack of it. But I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be 31-21.
All right, Chargers and Browns. What are you thinking?
Uh, I like the Browns. Nick Chubb's great. Chargers though, they got no problem. Uh, not really much in the way of looking back, trying to make sure, but I don't think they had any real issues on the ground. I mean, both sides.
No,
They stopped the run. Well, I mean, it was the Texans, right? But I don't know. I think you're very spot on with
29.
your prediction.
I'm going 29-20.
I'm going 28. I'm torn between 17 and 20. Actually, I'm thinking 20. Yeah, I think it's 28-20.
All right, Texans and Jaguars. I got a cool 17-24. I'm
Oh,
almost positive the Jaguars are going to beat out the Texans.
now here I think it's going to be another costly Trevor Lawrence issue. I don't think it's going to go very far. I think it's going to be a lot of rushing. So I'm going to go 16 to the Texans. Or I'm sorry. 16 for the Jaguars. And Texans, I don't know, man. Maybe 17-16. I'm thinking. I don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to make it downfield.
Close. All right, Falcons and Buccaneers. I got 21-35 going for the Buccaneers here. Overall, the Buccaneers are just a way better team. Again, we have Tom Brady, and I think we're just going to go into Atlanta and squash the Falcons.
Uh,
Or the Falcons are going to come here and they're just going to get squashed.
Yeah, I do believe. Same thing. I think seven. I think they're actually not even going to score as much. I think Mariota's going to keep it. They have no run. They're going to try. Like they're going to wake up in the third with was it Huntley, but the Buccaneers can stop them. Man, they're a great run defense. Their pass defense is going to be what feels kind of weird to me, but I'm thinking 17-35 because Tom Brady's just going to. Actually, I'm going to amend that 17-28. I think it's going to be 4 touchdowns because the Falcons are just going to try and waste time. That's every drive they're going to have.
Steelers versus Bills, 17-32. The Bills taking it. Again,
Where's
Bills are
that?
just a way better team than the Steelers are this year.
Yeah,
Most
I
of the
think
games
you're.
that
I
the
think it's
Bills
pretty close.
play, they put up a lot of points.
I'm honestly thinking 10-24 to the Bills. I don't know if it's because I mean, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt. I really think that they can make it to 32, but the way they played last week, I'm excited to see where they go. But I think they're gonna have a lot of game plan changes to make, and I don't know if they're gonna make those changes easily. And I think they're gonna struggle a little bit with that, but nonetheless, they have enough talent to be able to take that.
All right, the Dolphins and the Jets. What are you thinking?
I think it's gonna be closer. Um, I think the Jets are gonna have 2 picks at least. Bridgewater's just he's full of them, and I think it's gonna be probably closer. I'm thinking like 21-24 or 21. Yeah, 21-24.
I think the Dolphins' defense is just going to run over the Jets. Um, and I'm going to go 28-19.
Yeah,
Bears
I
and
don't know.
Vikings.
That's completely understandable.
Bears Vikings. I got 12-21. The Bears are just absolute heart garbage, and the Vikings are almost no better, but they're on the team on paper they're the better team, and
Yeah,
I think they're going to go.
I think it's gonna be small, shorter than that. I think it's gonna be 6-14. Bears will maybe make 2 field goals. Vikings, if they can get Delvin Cook going, they'll have more than 14. But I just don't see him moving. He's just not doing it. And Kirk Cousins is more of a short pass guy. I think it's going to be a very slow game.
Uh, Titans and Commanders have an interesting one. I think we're going to have another tie.
Interesting. Interesting. Why do you
Titans
think that?
Titans just don't have a passing game. They don't have a running game. Neither do the Commanders really, and they both suck equally. So I gave them an equal score.
You know what? That's fair. I mean, they don't have a Titans don't have a quarterback. They have Derrick Henry, but like it's going to be a low scoring game. He's going to have a breakout. He's going to have a breakout touchdown. The rest of the time, he's just going to be running it down. The Commanders, I don't know, man. They have a lot to think about. The good news is Titans don't. I mean, they had 3 sacks last week, but it's against the Colts. They're passing almost every play, or at least most of it. So, uh, I like yours, but I am going to give it to the Commanders. Unfortunately, I'm thinking it's going to be 14-17.
All right, Seahawks versus the Saints. I got 17-14 going to the Seahawks. With famous Jameis being out, the Saints are a decent team, but the Seahawks being mostly intact.
Yeah, and
I think it's gonna be a close game, but I think the Seahawks are gonna edge out on it.
yeah, I mean Dalton just didn't look good at all, man.
He never did.
Yeah, yeah. He was always 7 out of 10 in the Bengals. Every now and then an 8. But as a backup, I think his confidence is kind of shaken. He's just kind of there for the paycheck. It felt like to me, a lot of the balls are underthrown, a little outside. I don't really think he understands the offense that's running. I mean, it's not like Jameis was doing that much better, but he at least knew where to just kind of throw the ball or long bomb it, I guess. I think Andy Dalton, he's gonna learn from this week, but I don't think he's gonna learn enough. And I like the 17-14.
49ers and Panthers. I got 24 and 16 going to the Niners. The Niners are just going to steamroll the Panthers. I mean, they have a good solid combination of like that short pass game turning into bigger yards and, that run game. And then their both sides of their defense are just impeccable. And I think they're just going to overwhelm the Panthers.
I like it. To me, though, I think the 49ers are. I mean, they're 2-2, aren't they? Is that right?
Uh, they are 2-2.
Yeah. I think that their game with the Rams was a flash in the pan. I really don't think they should have had it. I feel
Uh,
like the Rams.
but really, the Panthers are 1-3.
That's true. Now I think the Panthers are going to come back heavy this week, and this is going to be the weird one. This is going to be the weird one, and I think the Panthers are going to come up with it, and I think it's going to be close-ish. I mean, I think thinking 13-21 to the Panthers. I think they're going to come out maybe with a vengeance,
Okay.
and I'm really hoping here. I think that they might have something here.
Eagles and Cardinals. What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals, man. One of the big things is what's his name? JJ Watt. He can work the inside, the outside. He can be your contain, he can back up. He's not too much on the really linebacker spot, but he can be moved, and I think that's what they're really gonna be using here with Jalen Hurts. At least that's what I would do to so that way, I mean, just have the three. You know he can't really throw, he wants to run. Help out your secondary a little bit. And I am going to go with a 10 to I'd say 17. I think it's gonna be a one score game.
All right, I'm going 23-20. I think, Kyler Murray's just the slightly better quarterback. He's a little bit more mobile than Jalen Hurts. He can
Yeah.
definitely throw the ball better than Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Um, but on the other hand, I just think the Eagles are so high on their own fumes that that's also a factor, and they have that mental game in their head, and I think they're going to edge that out over the Cardinals.
All right, that's a fair assessment. I like it.
It's going to be a close game. It might
Yeah.
not be of a high scoring game like I have it as. Maybe it'd be closer to your 10-17, but maybe the other way around.
Yeah.
Cowboys and
Mm.
Rams. I put that at a cool six to
Oh.
fourteen.
Now this is gonna be interesting. Let me look at one thing.
I think your Cowboys, like when we when you played the Bucks week one, the only thing you're able to do is really get field goals going. And I think this can be the same thing happening here, where the Rams are gonna have like something to prove coming up next week, and I think you guys are next on their hit list.
You know what? I feel like that's good. Yeah, they definitely have something to prove here. Just want to make sure of one thing. Now I know that Zach Martin got rolled up on, but I don't know if he's gonna be good for next week. Uh I think he was fine. He was able to walk off. If Zach Martin is healthy, Aaron Donald, man, for the Rams. I mean, he was really quiet. How is Aaron Donald doing? What happened there?
I don't know.
Which is surprising that he wasn't able to get to Garoppolo as much as he. I mean, I think there was one sack on their side.
What are you thinking?
Uh, if Aaron Donald refuses to show up for this game, Cowboys have it. I feel like Cooper's going to be okay, but they're going to be coming after him, and I don't know. I think it's gonna be close, but I'm not close enough. I think it's gonna be a 10-13.
All right, last and finally,
Oh, you're
Bengals
wrong.
versus Ravens.
We got the Raiders and the Chief.
Huh?
We got the Raiders and the Chief. They're on the next page.
Oh,
Page 12.
oh yeah, the lonely one. I'm sitting here like what? All right, second to last one.
Yeah.
Bengals and Ravens. I'm gonna go 23-27 with the Ravens edging it out.
Mhm.
Once again, the Bengals, they're kind of like the Lions, but slightly better. The Bengals
Yeah.
just don't stop playing ball. They will keep going. going, but I think the Ravens with their running game and just having like multiple ways to just run that ball down the field, and plus Lamar Jackson being able to throw it, I think they're gonna edge it out over the Bengals.
Yeah.
The Bengals are not what they were last year.
Yeah. One thing I'm gonna go here with a 17 and actually 28. I think that it's gonna be a lot of touchdowns. I don't think it's gonna be a lot of field goals for the Ravens because they can move the ball down. The Bengals, man, they just Joe Burrow, unless he gets whatever they got going down, it's not gonna happen. You know, like I said, he might have the two, but there's really not gonna be anything there for him. Let's see. Trying to look back at my notes here, really. I mean, there's just nothing surprising about them. They do have a decent running game, but I don't know. I think that the Ravens are going to be able to hold them off, and the run game is going to get in the way of the Bengals because there is no throw unless they figure out this short pass that they're working on. So,
All right, Raiders and Chiefs. I'm gonna go with a cool 19-27. I think the Chiefs again are just gonna go. The Raiders gonna go into Kansas City and they're just gonna be severely disappointed. Um, Derek Carr is not all that great.
mm,
You got a Patrick Mahomes riding a high right now, beating the Buccaneers that they just lost to the Super Bowl in 2 years ago.
yeah,
Um, yeah, 19-27.
man, I wouldn't even give the Raiders that. I'm going to go, yeah, 10-27. I don't even think the Raiders get past. They touch the double digits, and that's it. It's not saying that the Chiefs' defense is that great, but if they can keep the ball control and do that little run, do the little passes they're doing, they can definitely hold it off. I mean, you wouldn't even want to, though. You would want to score quick. So, really, I think it's going to be 10-27, and the Raiders are only going to get 10 points because the Chiefs are scoring so fast that there's enough time for the Raiders to put something together in the second and the end of the fourth.
All right, well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks a lot for listening.
Yeah, thank you for making it this far. I'm sure you've had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Um, Once again, we'll see you next Wednesday.
Yeah. So then, I don't know what this is going up on Spotify. Is that right? Or
I
something?
think we're gonna go Spotify, YouTube, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. So this will be on Spotify, YouTube. Which channel?
I don't know yet. We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
But anyways,
YouTube. Just type in Cheese Peas. You'll figure it out.
see you guys.
Yeah. Happy footballing.